Shin-soo Choo knows how to set the table.
Choo just scorching at the plate.
On the ground or through the air. Against heaters and hitters. He feasts on the most formidable foes.
Choo takes Verlander out of the yard.
And is thirsty for mammoth moments.
Shin-soo Choo with a walk-off home run. Well, it has been a really good run for Shin-soo Choo, and he is back in the starting lineup tonight after having yesterday's game off as we get ready for Game 2 of a 3-game series here with the Boston Red Sox. And welcome into the booth, everybody. I am CJ Nikowski along with Tom Grieve. And Tom, it is a good thing that Choo is back in the lineup for the Rangers tonight. Lately, maybe not the greatest baseball, and they're playing a team right now that has been very good.
Yeah, the Rangers have struggled a little bit in the last 4 games. Not pitching-wise, they've pitched pretty well. Their ERA in those 4 games is 3, but they've had a hard time scoring, only 1.5 runs per game. They faced excellent starting pitching. Jordan Zimmerman, 8 innings, 1 run. Mike Fiers, 6 innings, 1 run. Michael Fulmer, 7 innings, 3 runs. And last night, Eduardo Rodriguez, 5 2/3 shutout innings. The Red Sox, on the other hand, they've won 7 straight, scoring almost 8 runs a game. They've also pitched very well. The Red Sox lead the major leagues in runs per game, and they've won 7 games or more 3 times this year, so they're pretty good.
They certainly are, and winning is, of course, the name of the game. Giovanni Gallardo going tonight for the Texas Rangers, and all he has done is win.
Is win. That's all you can say. He started 4 times, and the Rangers have won all 4 ball games. During those 4 games, the Rangers have scored 28 runs, 7 runs per game. Giovanni has done what you hear people talk about a lot. That's a solid performance. He's given his team a chance to win. He's pitched well enough to keep them in the ball game, and fortunately, the Rangers have scored a lot of runs for him. The Rangers will need to score tonight against the Red Sox, and Giovanni will have his work cut out for him pitching against the best offense in baseball.
So we've talked about the offense. We've talked about the pitching. The last factor there, of course, is the defense. And when we get back, we are going to take what has been probably the best defender on the Rangers this year and put him in the spotlight. Delano DeShields has been doing some pretty special things in center field. Rangers baseball is sponsored by Ford. Visit your local Texas Ford dealer during the Ford Summer Sales Event. Ford is the best in Texas. And by Southwest Airlines. Getting closer to first pitch here at Fenway Park as the Rangers get ready to take on the Boston Red Sox. And we talk about defense so often, Tom, and the idea of being strong up the middle. Your catcher, your middle infielders, and your center fielder. And for the Rangers, some special things have been happening in center field this year.
They really have, CJ. Delino DeShields is becoming an outstanding defensive center fielder. We're going to show some of his 5-star catches. April 24th against Oakland, he robs Jonathan Lucroy, 4% catch probability. In May, Leonis Martin, a 19% catch probability. June 5th against Oakland again, Stephen Piscotty, this is a beautiful one, into the wall, only a 6% catch probability. And then on June 18th, Alberto Mondesi hits one in Kansas City. Delino runs that down nicely in center field. That was a 15% catch probability. 5-star catch probability is 0 to 25%. He's had 4 of those. A 4-star catch probability, 26 to 50% chance. He's had 8 of those. Just a great example of how much he's improved and how well he's playing center field for the Rangers.
He's done an excellent job, and that's why we put him in our Shiner Bach Spotlight. Great job by Delino DeShields so far in the first half. We want to see it as well in the second half. Another strong first half. We've talked a lot about Shin-soo Choo, the great work that he has done. When we get back, John Radigan's going to dig in a little bit more on the Rangers' lone all-star. No hidden fees. That's transparency. And by Buick. Visit your local Buick dealer today.
Welcome back to historic Fenway Park in Boston, Massachusetts, where so much history has been made, both in the city and here in the ballpark over the years. In the 106-year history of this ballpark, it's all commemorated and celebrated throughout the stadium. But one Texas Ranger can make a little more history of his own tonight. If Shin-soo Choo gets on base via walk, hit by pitch, or a base hit, he extends his team record on-base streak to 48 games. Got to 47 on Sunday in Detroit with a 9th-inning infield single, and that, of course, got him to the record. He also found out that day that he made the American League All-Star team for the first time, and that was so exciting. He said he'll never forget July 8th, 2018, and then to commemorate that great day, Shin-soo Choo took trainers Kevin Harmon and Matt Lucero and masseuse Raul Cardenas out for a steak dinner. He says if it weren't for those guys, he might not be on the field for any of this. He was just giving them a big thank you for all they have done to be a part of his great success, guys.
It's certainly a nice gesture by Choo, and well, who doesn't like a free steak? Let's get to our Southwest Airlines starting lineup tonight for the Texas Rangers. You see that man right there. Choo will be leading off, hitting .293 on the season. It's Elvis Andrus, Nomar Mazara, Adrian Beltre, Rougned Odor, Ronald Guzman, Isaiah Kiner-Falefa back behind the plate, Joey Gallo, and Delino DeShields in center field, batting ninth.
And for Hector Velasquez, we'll check out his repertoire. Two-seam, four-seam fastball, 65% of the time, one fastball or the other. Sinking fastball is the two-seam fastball. He throws a changeup and a slider. Pitched in the Mexican League for 7 years. Came to the Red Sox organization last year, had a good year at AAA, got a call up, pitched pretty well, and this year he's doing well. 26 games. This will be his third start. 6-0 with a nice ERA under 3.
He's done an excellent job. Now, he hasn't started since the beginning of April. His starts came on April 1st and April 14th. He has been in the bullpen since. And, of course, you think about how deep things are here with the Red Sox. They have a pretty deep rotation. They haven't needed him. But he's also picked up 4 wins in the bullpen, bringing that record to 6-0. He did win both of his starts. So he's been good in the rotation when he's got an opportunity. They just really haven't needed him very much. See the overall numbers. It's been a good season for Choo so far. At 35 years old, he has been getting it done, and he lines one to right field, but a short hop there, and Holt will field it cleanly and throw over to first base, and Choo is retired.
The Red Sox defense is sponsored tonight by Jack in the Box. Excellent defensive outfielder, 3 center fielders. Andrew Benintendi in left, Jackie Bradley in center. Mookie Betts played center field last night. He's in right tonight. In the infield, Rafael Devers at third base, Gold Glover Mitch Moreland's at first. Up the middle, Xander Bogaerts, and Brock Holt gets the start tonight at second. Behind the plate, Blake Swihart.
Do you ever feel like channeling your inner Jerry Remy? And you're a Massachusetts guy. We don't have the Massachusetts Boston accent. But my favorite name he pronounces is Xander Bogaerts. Xander Bogaerts.
Yeah, you know,
it's pretty special.
If you're born in a city in Massachusetts, in central Massachusetts, called Worcester, and you live on the western side of Worcester, you would call it Worcester. And if you live on the Boston side or the eastern side of that, you would call it Worcester. And so I grew up in western Massachusetts and probably some more midwesterny. And if you're born east of Worcester, then you have the Jerry Remy accent or the Joe Castiglione, who's one of their radio announcers, that type of an accent.
Well, there is a ground ball to Xander Bogaerts, and he throws over to first base, and Elvis Andrus is retired. 2 batters, 2 ground balls here so far for Velasquez, and not surprising. He's got a 50% ground ball rate, does a nice job of keeping the ball on the ground. He's not a huge strikeout guy, just 5.5 strikeouts per 9 for him, but he also does a nice job of filling up the strike zone. He's got a very good 2 walks per 9 walk rate. So lots of strikes, ground balls, not a ton of swings and misses so far this season for the right-hander. And which makes a lot of sense as you went through that pitch arsenal. 38% two-seam fastballs. That is the pitch that most pitchers use to try to get those ground balls as Nomar Mazara steps in now against Velasquez.
Yeah, his numbers have been better here, AAA in the big leagues, than they were in the Mexican League.
One pitch to Nomar Mazara. There's that high fastball that you and I have been talking about a lot over the past few days with Nomar. A lot of swings and misses that have been generated up there.
Yeah, the catcher had his glove high in the strike zone. That's where they were definitely trying to throw it.
I wonder about that too. Advanced scouting. I know I've been through it. You've been through it. But watching trends. Like you can look at one thing. Say, well, this guy's done this the last 2 years. What does he do in the last couple of weeks?
That's why you have an advanced scout for sure.
And that's interesting because some of that has gone away. Some of that has gone to video scouting, where scouts are not necessarily going to ballparks and advanced scouting, but so important for people that are wondering what does an advanced scout do. Well, he goes out and watches the team that your team is getting ready to play. So in the case of the Rangers, there's an advanced scout right now watching the Baltimore Orioles. And there's another ground ball and an easy play for Xander Bogaerts and an easy inning for the Red Sox. We'll go to the bottom of the first. No score here at Fenway. We have seen them all over Fenway Park. Same last year we were here too. A lot of Red Sox, or excuse me, Ranger fans making the trip. Well, let's get to the Boston Red Sox lineup. It is a good one. Mookie Betts leading off. Andrew Benintendi. JD Martinez is batting third. He homered in last night's ball game. Mitch Moreland, Xander Bogaerts, Brock Holt, Rafael Devers, Blake Swihart in there tonight, and Jackie Bradley Jr., the center fielder, batting ninth.
And Giovanni Gallardo will be on the mound for the Rangers. And a look at his pitch arsenal shows that he'll throw a 2-seamer and a 4-seamer. His 2 fastballs 55% of the time, slider, curveball, and a changeup.
There's Gallardo's first pitch of the game, and that one misses downstairs. Mookie Betts is having a monster season. There are so many different ways to dig in, but even the basic numbers right there, 344, the 22 home runs. You see that OPS. He has been absolutely crushing. But I thought this was interesting. You see a guy that has the high batting average, and we automatically assume more often than not that that is a player that uses the entire field pretty well, but not necessarily the case for Mookie Betts, who doesn't necessarily go the other way very often. It's a stat that you can pick up pretty easily, and just 17% of the time he goes to the opposite field. That's well below league average. So for a guy that's hitting as well as he is, it has been a lot of pull power for Mookie Betts. Anything about like Jose Altuve using the entire field. We talk about Nomar Mazara, what a great job he has done in that regard, kind of going the other way. He has a 27% opposite field contact rate, but for Mookie Betts, it's only 18%.
Yeah, that's what the numbers say, but the outfield shades him to right field, and the infield's playing him straight away.
See Delano DeShields there a little bit shaded toward right field, and as Tom mentioned, the rest of the Ranger defense is playing Mookie Betts straight up.
You see, that's a case of where your eye might be fooled and the numbers tell a different story. If I watch Mookie Betts, and I've only seen him bat 15 or 20 times, watching him in batting practice, he definitely doesn't strike me as a pull hitter. He looks like a guy that goes back through the middle and hits the ball to right center field. So I would definitely be fooled by what the numbers say.
Yeah, that one really jumped off the page when I saw it, as he hits a high fly ball to right field. It is shallow. Nomar Mazara is under it, and Mookie Betts is retired.
The Rangers defense tonight is delivered to you by New Braunfels Convention and Visitors Bureau. Joey Gallo, Delano DeShields, and Nomar Mazara form the outfield tonight. Adrian is at third. Ronald Guzman is at first. Elvis Andrus and Rougned Odor up the middle. And behind the plate, getting a chance to catch a little bit more often, Isaiah Kiner-Falefa.
Yeah, this will be interesting to watch, that trend with Kiner-Falefa, who's done an excellent job defensively. He's thrown out 3 of 4 potential base stealers, so he's done a really nice job of throwing. And everything you're hearing so far from the Rangers, they've been pretty pleased with what he has done behind the plate as far as his receiving and game calling.
Yeah, the main Red Sox base stealers are Betts, Benintendi, and Bradley. And if he throws out one of them tonight, he'll have done a good job, because 3 guys are 42 for 45. So that'll be a good test for Isaiah tonight.
Yeah, this is a little bit of a different look here. As you see, there's the caught stealing percentage, 75% of the time. But you're right, this is a little bit of a different feel with this Red Sox team. This is a team that's not afraid to run, especially these guys near the top of the lineup. And then, even though Jackie Bradley Jr. is batting 9th, once the order goes through one time, you've pretty much got all 3 of those guys together in the lineup, and that certainly could be a challenge for Isaiah. We will see. 3-1 to Benintendi, misses downstairs, and so it is a walk with 1 out to Andrew Benintendi, and maybe we will see Isaiah Kiner-Falefa get that first test.
Yeah, last night's game, well, you can't help but talk about the Red Sox offensive players, but Benintendi, that's his 49th walk, 7th in the league. He's 9th in the league in on-base percentage. Perfect number 2 hitter for this ballpark. Left-hand hitters thrive in this ballpark. Left-hand hitters that can go the other way with a green monster there. And you've got a guy with a good on-base percentage. Betts is that way. And boy, they're getting on base a lot for J.D. Martinez, and he's cashing in.
J.D. Martinez takes a first pitch fastball on the corner. Didn't like the call. I noticed this too. You pick up on this yesterday. The eyes closed with J.D. Martinez. Kind of a deep breath. Looks like he has some kind of almost meditation technique that he has been bringing to his at-bats. And listen, whatever he's doing is working. I saw that yesterday when he was on deck, and I noticed it when he steps into the box here. And Tom, you know as good as anybody, the mental game is as important as the physical game in baseball.
Yeah, and with the analytic age upon us, I'm sure that teams employ sports psychologists, breathing techniques. You see it in golf, other sports, and I'm sure all the players, not all of them, but most of them, take advantage of that and have a game plan, a routine that they go through for concentration. I remember watching Andy Pettitte when he pitched. When he got his sign, he'd kind of look straight down at the ground and then slowly lift his head up, and his eyes would focus on the target. And he did it every time, and you knew that was part of that concentration routine that he went through.
Throw over to first base from Gallardo, and it's certainly fascinating to kind of watch. And obviously J.D. Martinez is having a tremendous season, an all-star, and certainly an MVP candidate, maybe a favorite to be MVP. He'll be there without a doubt in the top couple in the American League. But I think from Rob Manfred's standpoint, think about pace of play, and breathing technique maybe slowing things down a little bit as he steps out.
No more breathing in baseball.
There's a ground ball to Elvis Andrus. This is going to be a very easy 6-4-3 double play, the 89th double play that the Rangers have turned this year. That is the 5th best in all of baseball. We are through 1, and there is no score here at Fenway. Fans, on Friday, July 20th, the Rangers are going to be playing the Cleveland Indians, and the first 15,000 fans will get a celebration snow globe that is courtesy of Powerade and Kroger. Make sure you get your tickets at TexasRangers.com. Adrian Beltre steps in after a very easy first inning for Hector Velasquez. 3 ground outs from Choo, Andrews, and Mazarin. So Adrian Beltre will try to get things going here for the Rangers. Another good year for Adrian. You see the .294 batting average, 768 OPS, and he takes a fastball for a strike. Count now 0-2. Saw this interesting note that John Blake sent along here with Velasquez and Gallardo going face to face, both natives of Mexico. This is the 3rd time for the Rangers that they have been involved in an all-pitching matchup of Mexican natives. Giovanni Gallardo was involved in it last time back in 2015 when he went up against Marco Estrada, and then in 2002, the big sweat, Dennis Reyes made a start for the Rangers up against Rodrigo Lopez. And really kind of interesting in that for me. So the previous 2, they were 2015, 2012, both took place on the same day, August 27th.
Huh.
So I was actually yacked that first one. Dennis Reyes, great guy, great teammate, and maybe one of the greatest nicknames in baseball at the time.
The Big Sweat?
The Big Sweat. He could use a
because he did sweat?
Oh my gosh, did he ever.
The player that I played with that sweat the most was Jim Bibby. He used to sweat to where the water would be dripping off the brim of his hat early in the game, and by the middle of the game, when he came off the field, the sweat had poured down his legs so much that you could hear his feet kind of swish when they touched the ground. He looked like the pilot on Airplane. One of the guys that sweats the least was Fergie Jenkins, and although I never played with him, I know that Jim Palmer doesn't sweat very much. I remember watching him in Baltimore one day. He was down around the batting cage before the game talking to the players. It was about 100 degrees and humid out. Couldn't even stand to go in the sun, and he stood around the batting cage for probably 20 or 25 minutes, came up to the booth, and he wasn't even sweating. That was an impressive display of whatever you want to call it, not sweating.
Not sweating.
If you can impress somebody with that.
I'm impressed, and I'm envious.
Me too.
I mean, the walkover, we stay right around the corner from the ballpark, and it's warm here in Boston, and I was not looking forward to it, knowing that I would be dripping by the time I got here.
Yeah.
There's the 0-2 to Adrian Beltre. Swung on and missed. 92-mile-an-hour fastball down the middle, so it has been 4 up and 4 down for Velasquez.
Like his 2-seam fastball, you can see a little bit of tailing action to it. That would generally be a pitch that you would expect Adrian to drive into the outfield somewhere, but that one snuck by him.
Velasquez needed just 9 pitches to get through the first inning, but Adrian Beltre worked a 6-pitch at bat there. Now Odor steps in, and he swings at the first pitch and drives this one to deep right field, and that ball is way gone. Odor continues his great work against the Boston Red Sox over the course of his career. Home run number 6, and just like that, the Rangers are up 1-0.
I'm sure that's not one of the longest home runs hit in this ballpark with Ted Williams, Big Papi, Yaz, and the rest of them, but that's one of the longer ones I've seen in a game right here. That went down the tunnel. That had to go 430, 440, 450. The StatCast powered by AWS will show us. Rookie knows that ball's gone, and he's not looking to take a pitch. He got a fastball to hit on the first one, and that's a long one right there. That's got to be 450.
You see the 380. I'd say, yeah, somewhere in there. We'll probably see. I don't know. I'll put my guess in at 432 is my guess. I'm not cheating. I didn't look.
I'm going to say 452.
All right. Either way, it is a run for the Rangers. And now Ronald Guzman hits one the other way into the corner into left field. He is around first, and Benintendi has a little bit of an issue with it, and so it'll be an easy double for Ronald Guzman, who continues to impress driving the ball the other way.
Yeah, Ronald's getting to be one of those guys that's swinging a magic wand. He's 10-11 for his last 20, and a lot of his hits have gone to left field, and a lot of those hits have come on pitches that have been pretty good pitches. And it doesn't mean he can't drive the ball to right field, but if they pitch him away, he's showing a pretty nice knack of being able to find a hole and go the other way. This is a ball that's middle of the plate, but it's down a little bit. He slices it down the left field line for a double. So he's staying out. He's got his average up to around 260 now.
So with the runner on second base and 1 out, Isaiah Kiner-Falefa now in against Velasquez. And it really, I mean, I have been impressed with Ronald Guzman at this point in his career. First time around the big leagues, to see him make the adjustments that he has, driving the ball the other way. We've seen a lot of that from him lately, and from a young player, whenever you see them doing that, especially in this day and age, so many pull power guys that get big, and you look at the size of him, and you don't necessarily look at him as a guy that would just be hitting the ball the other way, and he can pull it for power as well. It's been fun to watch so far. It's certainly encouraging for Ronald Guzman. And Kiner-Falefa quickly down in the count, 0-2. And here is that 0-2. Ground ball to the left side. Devers gets the nice high hop over to first base. And so Kiner-Falefa will be retired and no advancing for Ronald Guzman.
Here's the StatCast powered by AWS. Let's check out the numbers. We got a fastball right straight down the middle, and he wasn't taking a strike. And let's check it out.
Oh!
110 miles per hour, 447, kind of right in between of what we said.
I think you won. You said 452, didn't you?
Yeah, it was close.
You got me. I can admit it.
I actually thought it went farther than that, but
you only missed by 5 feet.
Yeah, that was close.
I missed by 15.
That was close. Yeah, I just looked. It went right straight over the 380 sign. And then it's just a matter of how much farther did it go. And you figure that the pitcher's mound to home plate is 60 feet, and it definitely looked like it went farther than the pitcher's mound. That would get it to 440. I thought it would have gone 10 or 15 feet farther than that.
Just 55 feet short of Ted Williams' record 502.
I wish I saw
good
that
home run that he hit here at Fenway.
I can remember 5 or 6 years ago, maybe more than that, when Josh Hamilton was taking batting practice here, and he was launching them. Maybe not quite like the home run derby at Yankee Stadium, but he was hitting them a long way. And it was before the fans were here, and so you could see that red seat. And his best bolt didn't get to that red seat. And I remember the players, I was minding my own business. I was not part of the conversation, but I was listening to them talk, and they're all saying, there's no possible way that Ted Williams ever hit a ball in that red seat. If Josh Hamilton's best bolt doesn't get to that red seat, it never happened. And I just took that as a severe lack of respect for one of the greatest players ever. Like, why do they think that Ted Williams couldn't hit a ball as far as Josh Hamilton?
Now, is it fair to say that he probably used a heavier bat than most guys do? Right? We've got the guys, obviously, they're very strong, but you were talking about this the other day, the thinner handles, maybe the lighter bats. And if you got the heavier bat that you can get through the zone, I would assume the ball would go farther if you can catch it out front right.
Yeah, I don't know the scientific part of it, but I think players back then tended to use a bigger bat. I think if I had to guess, I would say Ted probably used a 34.5, 35-inch bat, maybe 32 ounces, which was maybe an average-sized bat back then. I don't really know. But you're right. The bats back then were generally bigger, thicker handle, and heavier than they are now. Players today grew up using aluminum bats with thin handles, big barrels, and very light. So when they get to pro ball, that kind of a bat would feel extremely heavy to them.
So I had to take a quick look, and because I took a quick look, I don't know if it's exactly right, but I'm reading some stuff here about the Louisville Slugger that he would use. 35 inches in length.
Right.
We don't see very many guys. 35 is probably unheard of now in today's game.
No.
And the weight anywhere from 32 to 34 ounces.
Okay, that's slightly heavier than I would have thought. I remember the stories about Ted, though, when he would get a dozen bats from a Louisville Slugger, and he would take them all out of the bag, out of the box, and feel each one of them, swing them, and he would, as the story goes, be able to tell you if one of those bats out of 12 wasn't exactly what he ordered, and then they would weigh him, and more often than not, he was right. And so, you hear those stories from the old days, but if you hear something about Ted Williams, I wouldn't doubt it with him.
Well, Joey Gallo draws ball 4. Ronald Guzman hopped off second base, but decided to go back to the bag, realizing he didn't have an opportunity to get to third. So it's a 2-out walk for Joey Gallo, who did a nice job working that 7-pitch at bat. I remember, this was when I was in Detroit, the clubhouse manager there, Jim Schmeichel, every time bats came in, and I'm sure this probably happens all around the league, he would weigh every single one of them for the guys. And it really is amazing. We always talk about how particular pitchers can be with the ball, and every ball doesn't feel right, and all the other little quirky things that they go through. But the idea of a hitter saying, and he would mark it, this one's 33.5, this is 33.7. I mean, even down to the decimal as far as the ounces, every guy wanted to know, for whatever reason. I'm assuming what, maybe heavier ones you didn't want, lighter ones, or whatever it was. Pretty incredible.
Yeah, I think sometimes players, you know, toward the end of the year will start feeling a little tired. They'll go to a slightly lighter bat. And even during the season, there might be times where they're feeling that way, and they might go from a heavier bat to a lighter bat. But you think about how scientific sports are now, and think of a golfer with a set of golf clubs, not a typical golfer necessarily, but a professional golfer. They know every single thing about that club, the way it's weighted, the way it feels, the way the ball comes off the club. That's how they make their living. And players, a good number of them, are just as scientific about their bat. They want it to feel exactly the way it should feel.
1-1 to Delano to Shields, and that slider misses from Velasquez, who threw just 9 pitches in the first inning, but you see him now up to 31. And so the Rangers have done a nice job of getting that pitch count up after a quick first for the Red Sox righty. Now, would you think in that situation a hitter, or maybe even a hitting coach, would almost be like, hey, lie to him a little bit, tell him it's a different way, because, you know, psychological this game could be as well.
Yeah, I'm sure the psychology works its way into it, or label it with the wrong number on it.
Well, a fly ball to right field ends it, but the Rangers get on the board first thanks to this Rougned Odor 447-foot home run here at Fenway. Sixth home run of the season, and it is time to get to our Kubota power stats, and we're going to talk about Giovanni Gallardo and the really good job that he has done here as of late getting ground balls. Check out his 64% ground ball rate over his last 2 starts. That is the second highest in Major League Baseball since June 29th, and you see the difference, the 31% ground ball rate prior to that. And so some adjustments by Gallardo over his last couple of starts, keeping the ball on the ground, using that defense, certainly something that worked to his advantage, especially in this ballpark when he is facing those right-handed hitters. Here's the whole list of ground ball leaders going back to June 29th. We know Dallas Keuchel and Marcus Stroman, they have been 2 of the best in the game over the last few seasons, and so to see Gallardo in there in this short period certainly some encouraging news for the right-hander. Mitch Moreland hitting .283 on the season with 11 home runs. He's done a really nice job against the Texas Rangers. Of course, he spent 7 years at the big league level as a member of this organization. And now, since then, well, he's kind of terrorized his former club. Hitting .464 over that time. And here's the 3-1 from Gallardo, and there is a ground ball. Nice hop for Ronald Guzman. He'll take it himself, and there's one out here in the bottom of the second. Time now for a word from our friends at Southwest Kia.
At Southwest Kia, we've made car buying easy. $250 down delivers, monthly payments $250 a month or less. SouthwestKia.com.
Tom, with all this talk about batted balls in the air, ground ball rate, we were just talking about Gallardo. We've talked about Velasquez as well. I don't even feel like we talked about that much when I first broke in, which was in the mid-90s. Do you remember ever having conversations about ground ball rates? Not even rates, but just in general, like, hey, this guy hits the ball in the air too much, or this guy hits the ball on the ground too much, or this pitcher lets up too many fly balls.
Not even close. Back then, I didn't have the slightest idea at any given point in my career how many times I'd walked.
Oh, really?
Like in a season?
Wow.
Never. Had no one talked about on-base percentage. The only thing people talked about was batting average. And I can remember one day looking at the lineup card when Billy Martin was the Ranger manager, and Mike Hargrove was the leadoff hitter. And I'm thinking to myself, Mike doesn't run that well. Why would Billy have him as the leadoff hitter? And, you know, I probably said that stupidly to one of the coaches, and they said, well, he walks 100 times. He gets on base a lot. Billy likes someone that can get on base as a leadoff hitter. First time it ever dawned on me that might be the case. And, you know, I remember I was talking to Toby Hare about 2 weeks ago. Toby probably averaged 80 or 90 walks a season and always had a high on base percentage. And he came back to the Rangers. We got him back from the Yankees when he was in his mid to late 30s, and he walked 100 times in the season. Had a great year for us. Probably had a 400 on base percentage. And I was talking to him about that, and he said, "You know, Tag, I never tried to walk. I didn't really want to walk. I went up to the plate trying to hit, but I couldn't hit a breaking ball that well, so I never swung at the breaking ball. And they threw it to me a lot, and I took it and I walked. If I thought walking was great, I could have walked 150 times, you know, which might be a slight exaggeration. But the point is, we didn't think about that stuff then. So, you know, then to come forward to today for the analytical look at it, no one would have had the slightest idea.
It really is amazing to think, and you know, the value, and I think there are certainly, without a doubt, some numbers that we look at, and I'm like, does it matter that much? But things like keeping the ball on the ground and maybe how you want to match up a certain pitcher in certain ballparks, and maybe he's a better free agent based on, you know, what you have to offer. As we see a little dribble here out in front of home plate, that'll roll foul. Count 2-2 now against Brock Holt.
Yeah, I can remember when people would talk about Earl Weaver and the job, the Hall of Fame manager, by the way, from the Orioles, and they would talk about the job he did. And Earl Weaver was a manager that didn't strongly believe in sacrifice bunting or stealing bases. He wanted to get a couple of men on and look for the 3-run homer, and that's essentially what guys are doing today. So maybe he was a little bit ahead of his time in his thinking. He wasn't basing it on analytics because they didn't really keep analytics back then, or those kind of stats. And you know, Billy's thinking on base percentage, which is obviously important now, and maybe that was a little bit ahead of its time.
Well, nice job by Giovanni Gallardo. A couple of groundouts to first, and then a strikeout looking of Brock Holt. When we get back, that man, Shin-soo Choo, the All-Star, will be leading things off for the Rangers. over the Red Sox and the on-base machine, Shin-soo Choo, the all-star for the Rangers this year, and his LA ranks this season in the American League, what he has done so far. It has been a very good year. You see the walks, the on-base percentage has been excellent for him this season, and he's doing all of that at 35 years old.
He definitely deserves to be an all-star. He's the kind of guy that can help win an all-star game. He's not going to start in the all-star game, but he should get a chance to play in it. And if he pinch hits, the manager will be putting a guy at the plate that can get on base or hit the ball out of the ballpark.
Yeah, that's the other part, right? I mean, it's not just short swing, working some walks, getting on base. He has been driving the ball as well with some authority.
Hey, you're talking about being in his mid-30s. He has 17 home runs now. He's on pace to hit somewhere around 30 home runs, which would be by far his biggest home run season.
And that's one of the things that has worked against a lot of players in the analytical age as far as they get older and teams not valuing some older players, and then you get a year like this one from Choo in his mid-30s and kind of makes you say, hey, not so fast. There are certain guys with certain types of games that can continue to be very productive and very valuable into their mid-30s.
Yeah, Choo was, if he had a good pitch right there, 2-1, he was going to bunt, and he gets the walk.
Interesting that he squared around on the 3-1 count, but it is a walk nonetheless for Choo.
I think he was taken all the way on that 3-1 pitch. And at this stage of the game, leading off an inning, his job is to get on base.
So there it is. This is his ranks among players that are 35 or older that qualify right now. First in average, hits, walks, OPS, and runs scored. And that's a pretty good group that you're looking at. These are not, you know, so big leaguers. Those are some big names that you saw there at the bottom. Encarnacion and Nelson Cruz, Albert Pujols, Ian Kinsler. Guys that are still bringing a lot to the table.
He ties Joey Votto, 48 straight games reaching base by a hit or otherwise, and that was several years ago. So Choo keeps on going.
And of course the streak, right? So at 48 is really amazing as Elvis Andrus pops one up to the infield and Devers is there and he makes the catch, and so as the first out here of the third inning. But this is the list here. Longest streak since 2000 in the American League on base streaks, and there is Choo now at 48. So one more to catch Manny Ramirez, Kevin Millar in there. Some really good hitters. And still a ways to go before he catches Orlando Cabrera, who got on in 63 straight back in 2006. Millar surprises me of that group. Probably the name that sticks out.
That's like when you were in kindergarten and they gave you those pictures of four things. 3 of them were red and 1 of them was blue. Pick the one that doesn't belong, shouldn't be there. Well, I looked at that list. Kevin Millar's the one that didn't belong on that list. Although Orlando Cabrera is not a Hall of Famer either, and he's in the top of that list.
Some guys that put some good on-base streaks together. Nomar Mazara in here with 1 out, and he fouls off a 92-mile-an-hour fastball. Nomar grounded out to short to end the first inning. It was a quick 1-2-3 inning for Velasquez. Since then, the Rangers making him work a little bit.
You know, when Choo was hitting, they had a shift on, and on the left side of the infield, Devers was way back at shortstop. So it's an automatic base hit if Choo lays the bunt down. And he wanted to do it on the 2-1 pitch, but it was a ball. And so when it got to 3-1, I think he went away from the bunt and said he'll take a pitch and try to work a walk. And either way, whichever way he tried to get on base, that's kind of the name of the game when you're the leadoff hitter and leading off an inning. Not like he's trying to extend the streak. And oh, how can you bunt to extend the streak? Hey, it's early in the game. It's a close game, and he's the leadoff hitter. That's what he does. That's what he should do.
And he has done it well. And now Nomar Mazara is down in the count 1-2. And interesting to see kind of the fastballs that they have thrown to him in this shift. I don't know if we have seen the third baseman over that far. We mentioned this yesterday where the shortstop position was open. Nomar hit a ground ball there. We have seen that quite a bit with him. We've seen some teams adjusting, and it seems like now all of a sudden the Red Sox making some pretty quick adjustments and leaving a pretty good chunk of the left side of the infield open for Mazara.
You know, actually there's pretty good side of the right, pretty good amount of the right side of the infield open too, with the first baseman holding them on.
Very interesting shift that they have on here, and there is a ground ball to the right side. Brock Holt fields it cleanly over to second base. No play at first, as that was a long throw to Xander Bogaerts. Let's take our first Chevy game break. How you doing, Rick Renner? Yeah, that is pretty amazing to see some of those struggles with the Washington Nationals. I was in the food room today and looked up at the TV, and they were doing a poll of who they thought would be in first place when the Eagles play the Falcons, whatever that is, like the second week in September, and they said the options were only the Braves and the Phillies. They were not even throwing the Washington Nationals in there as a possibility, and certainly they do have an opportunity to do that. Plenty of time to go, but that stuck out a little bit.
Yeah, I think that's kind of a reflection on how they're playing right now, but I think it's probably a little bit too early to make that statement about them. They're 5.5 games behind, and you know, you have a good week where you play one of those teams head to head, win 3 out of 4, the other team goes on the road and loses a couple of games, and all of a sudden it's a 2-game difference. So that can turn around pretty quickly, but they've obviously got to play a lot better than they are right now.
And one of the guys saying it has the 3rd longest streak in the American League on base streak since 2000. It was Kevin Millar.
Huh.
And here's a little tapper to third base, but foul for Adrian Beltre.
Now, when you go on TV, you go on the radio a lot. When you go on TV every day and you talk for 3 hours and you have to give your opinions, it's tough.
Oh yeah,
to be on the right side of the ledger all the time, boy.
No doubt, no doubt. And then, people will push you a little bit to maybe try to take a different, different opinion, different look, try to start a conversation, and then it's one of the great things about social media. People will quickly tell you when they disagree and how dumb you are.
They'll remember what you said too and look back on it.
It's a lot of fun. 2-2 count to Adrian Beltre. Adrian struck out in the 2nd inning. It was a 92-mile-an-hour fastball that he swung through. It was the only strikeout so far for Velasquez. And here is that 2-2, and swung on and missed, and Adrian Beltre goes down on strikes again. So just the walk, the extended streak for Choo, but nothing else to show for it. We'll go to the bottom of the 3rd when we get back.
Let's look at today's showstopper, and what a showstopper it is. Aaron Nola for the Phillies won this game 3-1. He knocked in all 3 runs, and he's got a nasty breaking ball and a great sinker. He's having a tremendous season. That was his 12th win. So he hit his way to a win and pitched his way to a win, and he is the showstopper today.
And now leading the National League in wins is Aaron Nola. Really has emerged as an ace. I remember watching Aaron Nola in college and pitch at LSU, and I was doing one of their games on television. I had a scout call me and ask me, hey, what'd you think? We think this guy's going to be a pretty high draft. I said, yeah, looks pretty good to me. Maybe middle of the rotation starter. I think he needs a little bit of a better
How hard did
changeup.
he throw?
Not too much different than he did now, to be honest with you. A lot of good movement. He just, lanky and long, and I said maybe more of a contact guy. He has really exceeded expectations. He was a high round draft pick, but just because you're a first rounder doesn't mean they think you're necessarily going to be at the top of a rotation. But he has made some nice progress since he was drafted and has really emerged for the Phillies.
Yeah, every time I've never seen him pitch a game, but he's on the highlights a lot. And when you watch that breaking ball and that sinker that he throws in the highlights and the arm angle that he throws at and the reaction of the hitters, pretty obvious that he can be dominating.
Devers drills one to center field, but an easy play for Delano to Shields, and one out here in the bottom of the third. Well, on Saturday, July 21st, the Rangers will have a 7 o'clock game against the Cleveland Indians, and the first 15,000 fans will get an Elvis Andrus Best Friends bobblehead. That'll be courtesy of Dr. Pepper and Tom Thumb. Tickets are Texas Rangers. No, tickets are at TexasRangers.com. Here are the best friends, Elvis Andrus and Adrian Beltre, on the left side of the infield tonight for the Rangers, as they often are. And Blake Swihart now steps in for his first at-bat against Gallardo. So this has become a little bit interesting for Swihart now, getting an opportunity to catch a little bit more. So he's been a catcher, but he just hasn't caught very much at the big league level, especially lately for the Boston Red Sox. They've moved him around. He's played a lot of different positions, and obviously this is a very difficult lineup to try to break through and get any kind of consistent playing time. They also have Brock Holt, who's a very good utility player, but Swihart has played first, second, third, left, right, and has caught a little bit this year. But now with the injury to Christian Vasquez, all of a sudden now Blake Swihart will get a little bit more time. Sandy Leon will be the guy. He'll get most of the time behind home plate, but a lot of conversations around here with the Red Sox and their folks, or whether or not they may be interested in potentially looking to add a catcher. As this one is lifted foul. 1-2 to the switch hitting Swihart. It's a nice round of applause in between innings here at Fenway. Wade Boggs is in the house. They showed him on the big screen. One of the many greats to put on a Red Sox uniform. And this one is drilled to right center field, deep into that triangle. Nobody's going to get to this one. It is down off the wall and over, so it'll be an automatic double for Blake Swihart, and quite honestly, probably a break for the Texas Rangers.
Yeah, I doubt that he can hit a ball any better than that. That's one where he got his pitch, put his swing on it, and made perfect contact. Hit that about 415 feet. A home run in most ballparks, but the direction of that hit went right toward the 420 sign, and he didn't have quite enough to get it over that. Not many people would. But that was a bolt.
Some bad aim by Blake Swihart.
Sure
He hit it hard, but my goodness, that is probably the only place in this ballpark where it is not at least off the wall. But it is a double nonetheless, and so Jackie Bradley Jr. now steps in against Giovanni Gallardo.
Ended up going about 405. If he pulled it just a little bit, it goes right into the Red Sox bullpen.
It was the first hit of the night for the Boston Red Sox. Some struggles this year for Jackie Bradley Jr., but not here as he goes to the opposite field gap, and this ball gets down. One hops the Green Monster, and so it'll be back-to-back doubles here for the Red Sox, and they have tied this game 1-1.
Well, Giovanni navigated pretty well through the hardest part of the lineup. Betts, Benintendi, Martinez, Bogarts. Got an out in the third, and then got to the bottom of the order, and it's been Swihart and Jackie Bradley who hit two balls very hard. One to right center by Swihart, and this line shot by Bradley brings him in. Bradley's been swinging pretty well the last couple of weeks, hitting over 300 for the season. though. He's right around 200.
Even 200 batting average coming into this one. Swihart a 185, and so not the guys that you would expect to get to Gallardo, but here we are. Now Mookie Betts steps in and takes a first pitch strike, and Mookie Betts is going to be our TXU Energy power player to watch. And he's the only player right now in Major League Baseball to have an average above 330 against both lefties and righties. That is a minimum of 80 at-bats this season. It has been a very good year for Betts, no two ways about it, but the fact that he has been beating up both lefty and righties, pretty impressive. Trying to play matchups, he certainly doesn't make that very easy. Betts takes that one just off the plate. We count 2-1. 343 overall, 22 home runs, the 44 RBIs, OPS over 1100 for Mookie Betts, one of the 5 All-Stars here for the Boston Red Sox. There's a good pitch on the corner. Count now 2-2. Mookie Betts hit his 100th career home run on Friday, becoming just the 4th Red Sox hitter with 100 home runs before turning 26 years old. There's some pretty good names in there: Tony Gallardo, Jim Rice, Ted Williams. Gallardo hit 160 home runs before his 26th birthday. Well, Mookie Betts chases one out of the zone, and he is down on strikes. And what a huge strikeout for Giovanni Gallardo.
Yeah, not an easy strikeout. Mookie Betts doesn't strike out that much. That's his 41st strikeout. He's walked 41 times. One of the few players in the league that walks as much as they strike out. He made a good pitch. Slider, a cut fastball, a little bit out of the strike zone.
So now Andrew Benintendi steps in here with 2 outs, and he takes the first pitch at 92 miles an hour for strike 1. Benintendi is one of the 5 players that is on that final vote that the fans can vote in on the American League All-Star team.
Yeah, we were talking about Tony Gallardo before the game started with the guys up here in the booth, and who are all tremendous baseball fans and great Red Sox fans. And when Tony C's name came up, they talked about him coming to the big leagues right out of Swampscott High School when he was 19 years old, and in his first at bat hitting a home run in Fenway Park. He had 24 home runs, I think, that year when he was 19 years old. And if he didn't get hit by the pitch, Jack Hamilton hit him in the eye, and then he had some health problems later on, died at an early age. But if he was healthy, he was on his way to hitting 600 home runs. But what you just mentioned, at that same point in time, before age 26, he did 33 more home runs than Ted Williams.
This ball is drilled deep into right field, and that one is going to be off the top of the wall. Delino fields it, gets it in. It'll be a double for Benintendi, the 3rd double of the inning, and with that RBI double, the Red Sox take a 2-1 lead.
Well, the Red Sox have teed off 3 times for doubles in this inning, and they haven't been bloopers. This one is right in Benintendi's wheelhouse, middle of the plate. See where that one ends up. That's going a little bit to the left of the 420 sign, off the wall. That probably went 410, 415. Might even have gone 420 when you count where it would have landed if it didn't hit the wall. Those are 3 well-hit doubles.
It doesn't get any easier with J.D. Martinez now stepping in here with 2 outs against Giovanni Gallardo. Benintendi, who had been hitting .368 with runners in scoring position, well, that number just went up, and really the heart of this order has been fantastic in these positions. Martinez, .348 on the season with runners in scoring position, and that's where Andrew Benintendi is right now. There's the 1-0, and that one misses outside. Count now 2-0. Martinez grounded into a double play to end the first inning. It went 6-4-3, a very easy double play for the Rangers, and I mentioned at the time that was their 89th double play turn this season. .417 was the distance on that Benintendi double. And this one is lined into left field, a base hit. Joey Gallo comes up throwing. Benintendi will have to hold, and a nice throw by Gallo into the cutoff man, Adrian Beltre.
Yeah, there's a lot of ways that you can get extra hits in this ballpark, or extra bases. A double when it should have been a single, vice versa. In this situation with the left fielder, there's not much room out there in left field, and so the left fielder plays fairly shallow, and it's very difficult to score from second base on a well-hit single right at the left field. In fact, it's impossible if the left fielder can throw it all.
And he certainly does have a very good arm out there, does Joey Gallo. And third base coach Carlos Vivas didn't even hesitate. He knew right away. He knows the arm, he knows the situation, and the stop sign went up early. It was a no-doubter.
The ball was hit hard too, right at him. 4 hard hit balls this inning. 3 doubles and a single.
104 miles an hour off the bat of JD Martinez for that single. And so now Gallardo's got some work to do.
Did you see the ball that Stanton hit 2 days ago?
I did not.
Just like that. He hit a line drive single to left field at 120 miles an hour.
Oh,
set the all-time record.
My goodness. Moreland grounded out to first base in the second inning. It was one of back-to-back groundouts that Ronald Guzman fielded and took himself. And he hits one to the right side. That's going to get through for a base hit. JD Martinez will be around second. He'll go to third. Benintendi scores, and it is an RBI single for Mitch Moreland, the 5th base hit for the Red Sox this inning.
See the ball come out of his hand. Looks like a slider. Didn't really slide over the way he wanted it to. It kind of stayed near the middle of the plate. And Mitch took advantage of it, put a good swing on it, and like the other 4 hits in this inning, hit it right on the barrel of the bat.
It was 3 straight base hits with 2 outs against Gallardo, and now Xander Bogaerts will step in with runners at first and third. Fake break from Mitch Moreland at first. It's a called strike. Bogaerts also swinging a very good bat with runners in scoring position. .351 batting average for him this year. It's not only that this lineup is good, but this lineup has been extremely good in big spots. They came into the series leading all of Major League Baseball batting average with runners in scoring position. This one is drilled to deep center field. Gallardo DeShields is back. Long way to go. And that one is off his glove. JD Martinez will score. Mitch Moreland will score. Bogaerts to third, and he is safe with a slide-in 2-out RBI triple. And now the Red Sox lead this one 5-1.
Well, in our Shiner spotlight before the game, we showed some of the great catches Delino had made. He had 4 5-star catches and 8 4-star catches, and this would have been a 5-star catch if he was able to catch it. One of those balls hit directly over his head with his back to the plate, reaches back and almost made the play on that. Just hit off the side of his glove. That would have been a great catch and a tremendous way to end the inning. Wasn't quite able to pull it off, and the Red Sox had their 6th well-hit ball this inning, their 4th extra base hit.
So Brock Holt now steps in. He will be the 9th batter to come to the plate in this inning for the Red Sox. He struck out looking back in the second. 1 of 2 strikeouts for Giovanni Gallardo so far this evening. No action in the Ranger bullpen just yet. The guys moving around stretching, but nobody has gotten up. Jeff Pastor has not made that phone call to get any of his relievers throwing.
That one had to Delino a 19% catch probability.
Really?
It would have been a 5-star catch, and I would have rated it a little bit less than that.
Whew, that was a tough one. I mean, that ball was hit hard. I wonder too on catch probability how much they factor in. That ball was pretty much directly over his head, right at him. You know, of course, that ball, the way it's arcing, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's a really, really tough play. That would have been a tremendous catch, but nevertheless, it turns into a triple. And now Gallardo was behind in the count 3-1. Excuse me, 3-1 to Brock Holt. And there is that 3-1, and that was hit just foul down the third base line.
That went between Bogarts and the third base umpire, Todd Tichenor. And even though it was a ground ball, it had pretty good exit velocity.
Certainly not a lot of room down there between the runner who's leading off in foul territory and the third base umpire. Pitch number 62 of the night coming up for Gallardo, and here is a slow ground ball hit to the right side. Guzman will field and take it himself, but it was a big inning for the Red Sox. They scored 5. Odor will lead things off when we get back in the fourth.
Our Southwest Airlines breakdown, player breakdown. Second inning, Odor, big leg kick, up close, fastball, first pitch, 440 plus feet later, 447 to be exact. At 110 miles an hour, the ball comes down in the walkway. Long home run, gave the Rangers a 1-0 lead, but the Red Sox came storming back in the third inning with 6 hits, 3 doubles, and a triple included, and 5 runs.
Well, we'll get a new pitcher to face, and we mentioned that Velasquez hasn't started, I should say, since the beginning of April, and so just 2 innings for him tonight, and it's Jalen Beeks who comes on for the Red Sox, and you see the season at AAA Pawtucket. He just got called up today. He made his major league debut earlier this season, June 7th. He made a start against the Detroit Tigers, through 4 innings, allowed 6 runs. So this will be his second ever big league appearance, and not only that, but he'll be doing it on his 25th birthday. So happy birthday to Jalen Beeks. Hopefully the Rangers hitters maybe aren't going to be so kind on the gifts. There's a breaking ball called strike, so count 1 and 2, and a good looking breaking ball from the left-hander. We showed you those numbers at AAA. He has pretty much only started at the minor league level. Made some relief appearances in the fall league, and in his first year when he signed in 2014 did pitch in 2 games. Those were out of the bullpen. So second big league appearance, first time coming out of the pen overall since 2016. This breaking ball is hit high down the left field line, and that one almost comes back, Tom, and you were talking about that last night. Those high fly balls that look like they're going to go in the stands. I thought for sure that was a foul ball. Actually ended up being pretty close. It went in the first row, but much closer than I thought.
Yeah, that, I don't know if it had a little spin on it. There's not a lot of wind tonight, but I found that in the times I had a chance to play here that happened frequently. And the one reason you see it happen when it's fairly windy here is because the upper deck here is much lower than the upper deck in many of the newer stadiums, and so the wind can really affect a ball that's hit high in the air.
His fastball taken up and in. So that's interesting. I'm with you. I don't really necessarily feel the wind, but you saw the flag. We just showed you that shot, so it seemed like the wind maybe. Well, now of course it's not doing anything, as I said. There it goes on cue, right on cue.
Yeah, I think
a little bit.
I think that can definitely have an effect.
Breaking ball hits Odor, and so he will lead things off by getting on base here against Beeks. Let's throw it down to John Radigan for the first time this evening.
Yeah, as Ronald Guzman comes to the plate, I can tell you there's nobody more excited about playing here than him. In the Dominican Republic, he grew up a Red Sox fan because of Manny Ramirez and Pedro Martinez, I should say, Dominican guys. He says he watched the games, all the Red Sox games. His fondest memories were eating dinner and then retiring with his grandfather to the TV room and watching those Red Sox games. So he was just giddy yesterday about being here, and then about today about making his very first start here. He's such a Red Sox fan, guys, that when I brought up the name Johnny Damon and Kevin Youkilis, he's like, I can't believe they ever wore the pinstripes. I mean, he was a fan as a kid.
That's pretty amazing as he lines another one to left field. Benintendi is back. He does not get to this one, and he gave that kind of fake catch to throw Odor off, but it didn't work as Rugi goes to third, and so it is another base hit to the opposite field for Ronald Guzman.
Yeah, it's getting to where you have to just continue to say how impressive he's been with his ability to do this, especially against a left-handed pitcher. That ball is out over the plate, doesn't try to pull it. Looks like this would be a perfect park for him to hit in the way he's swinging the bat right now. Got a double the first time up, more toward the line. This one hit better, but only ended up with a single. The way Benintendi played it off the wall.
It was interesting to watch Benintendi kind of throw the glove up there. And Odor did pause a little bit at second base to make sure that he didn't have a chance to catch it. But as soon as that ball was over his head, Rugi took off and got to third easily. I guess you could say it prevented him maybe potentially from scoring if he was running as soon as he hit it. But the idea of trying to do that with nobody out probably wouldn't have been a smart move anyway. So now you got Isaiah Kiner-Falefa stepping in with runners at first and third and nobody out. Rookie on rookie matchup here between Beeks and Kiner-Falefa. I was interested when John Radigan was just telling us about that and mentioning the names that Ronald Guzman brought up: Pedro Martinez, Manny Ramirez. He didn't say David Ortiz. He's a left-handed hitter. I thought that would have been like his go-to guy right away.
Yeah, for sure.
Count now 2-1 to Isaiah Kiner-Falefa. But that's a cool story to hear him talk about being in the Dominican Republic, watching Red Sox baseball, sitting there and hanging out with his grandfather. Those are really cool memories, and I'm sure his entire family is just extremely proud to see him in the big leagues, but now getting that opportunity to play at Fenway Park, a team that he rooted for as a kid.
I think if I was a left-hand hitter and I had a chance to pick my major league team, I would pick this ballpark. I think you're a better hitter if you don't try to pull the ball. And in this ballpark, with left field staring at you right in your face as a left-hand hitter, it almost subtly turns you into a hitter who can hit the ball back through the middle into left center field because of how you're rewarded if you can. You know, all the great Ted Williams wasn't that kind of a hitter. He was a pull hitter, but most of the other great Red Sox left-hand hitters, whether it was Freddie Lynn, whether it was David Ortiz, whether it was Wade Boggs, have really benefited by hitting the ball to left field in this ballpark.
Well, nice play by Beeks, but an even better play by Xander Bogaerts as the throw was in the dirt, but he picks it, and they are able to turn the 1-6-3 double play. And so Isaiah Kiner-Falefa is retired, but there is a run across the board for the Rangers.
Yeah, the way Bogaerts came across the bag, he didn't skip a beat. He didn't get off balance. The ball takes a short hop. He just scoops it and comes across like it was a throw chest high. That's pretty nice.
What a difference that makes, right? If he doesn't
Wow.
make that
Might
pick,
have gone into center field.
that goes into center field, and the rookie Beeks is looking like he might have been in for a short evening.
Yeah.
That changes.
Because now it's 3 straight base runners. You've thrown a ball into center field. You've got a lead. You're getting a chance to pitch in front of 36,000. And all of a sudden, things might tighten up a little bit for you. Instead, you're giving up a run. Take a deep breath and nobody on base with 2 outs thanks to that beautiful play by Bogaerts.
Big swing by Joey Gallo, and the count even 1-1 with this left-on-left matchup. Let's take a look at our WinStar World Casino and Resort leaderboard. And here it is. The at-bat per home run rate since the beginning of 2017. You saw J.D. Martinez there at the top. Well, Joey Gallo is in the top 5 as well, and not surprising with the tremendous power that Joey has. That's some good company that he is keeping.
We're talking about left-hand hitters in this ballpark. You have to mention Mitch Moreland too. I don't think it's a coincidence that Mitch has come to Boston and finds himself in the All-Star game this year, because he's the kind of guy that has power to all fields and can really benefit from the monster.
This one is popped up, but it'll make the seats.
What a catch by that guy.
Did he get that in his hat?
Yeah, he had the hat down near his waist. He made a Willie Mays basket catch. I thought it was going to hit him in the head. He's got to be the most surprised guy in the stadium right now. He had his hat. I don't know if he's trying to catch it or not. Watch this. Watch this guy.
Unintentional. What do you think?
I don't know.
That's true. He's like,
but look on his face.
Yeah.
I don't think he thought he was going to get that ball. That ball just found his hat.
well, Joey Gallo hits one deep to right field, but that ball is going to be ruled foul. And those people with the
Wherever it landed, it got there quickly.
look of bewilderment on their face, not realizing that they were actually in foul ball territory.
Yeah, if you were taking a sip of your beer, you didn't have a chance to get out of the way by the time you put the cup down.
And here's the 3-2, and it's a breaking ball that misses. So a good walk, good at bat by Joey Gallo. Tom, you were mentioning that 120-mile-an-hour single by Stanton earlier. It was a base hit, right?
I believe it was, yeah.
They just said that that foul ball that Joey Gallo hit was 120 miles an hour.
Wow.
Now I don't know if it counts in the Statcast leaderboard because it was a foul ball.
Wow. Well, you know, it looked like it. I tried to watch that ball and I couldn't even follow it. It was hit so hard.
So with 2 outs, Delano DeShields steps in against Beek. So real quick to finish up the conversation about Guzman, who said he's a Red Sox fan. You said you grew up a Yankee fan. I grew up a Yankee fan, but I tell people all the time, the first time I rolled into Yankee Stadium as a pitcher and they handed it to me, I was no longer a Yankee fan.
Yeah,
you know,
right.
giving up a ton of runs. How about for you as a player? Did that ever go away at any point in your career?
Yeah, as soon as I started playing, I really wasn't a Yankee fan anymore. No.
Well, the ground ball there will end the inning, but the Rangers do get one of those back. We will head to the bottom of the 4th when we get back here at Fenway Park.
Hats off for heroes. For each post, T-Mobile will donate $1 to support veterans.
We're back here at Fenway Park, and the Red Sox leading the Rangers. It's 5-2. The Red Sox put up a 5 spot on Giovanni Gallardo in the bottom of the 3rd inning. He is back out there now here in the 4th. First pitch foul ball, so it's 63 pitches for Gallardo total now, but 33 of those came in that 3rd inning. As they batted around, they sent 9 hitters to the plate in that inning, and so it was Devers who led off the 3rd, and he will now lead off the 4th. The pitch, I guess, just misses down. Count even 1-1. Devers is now 13 for his last 43 over his previous 11 games. He has a couple of home runs, 3 doubles during that time. He's been good lately overall over his last 30, batting .282 with 5 home runs. And the 2-1 is lifted high down the right field line. This one's going to have a chance to squeeze in, and it does not.
That was one that almost got the pesky pole, 305 or 6 feet down the line.
Yeah, Devers still only 21 years old. Got a chance to knock in 80 or 85 runs.
It's certainly easy, I think, for a guy like Rafael Devers to get lost in this lineup a little bit. You just mentioned his age. That kind of gets overlooked. He made his debut last year. We have so many studs in the lineup, and the way that they're playing so far this year. He's done a respectable job, and we've talked about what he has done recently. Just mentioned it. The overall numbers at .243, and then an on-base percentage under 300 doesn't necessarily stick out. But again, you bring up the age and the fact that he has shown power this year, 14 home runs, already besting what he did a year ago with his 10.
Yeah, I think
his RBIs. I mean, there's some impressive things happening there.
Yeah, and I think for a 21-year-old, this is probably a perfect lineup to break into, where you're not noticed hitting 7th, 6th, 7th, 8th in the lineup. The other guy is carrying the load, and you just kind of blend in there. And when the season's over, you go, wow, he had a pretty good year.
Well, good job by Gallardo to get in on Devers for an easy ground out. So Wednesday, July 25th, the Rangers will be playing the Athletics. That is also the next Texas Chili Company $1 hot dog night. Get your tickets at TexasRangers.com, or you can always call 972-RANGERS. Blake Swihart now steps in against Gallardo. Swihart hit that. Did we ever get the official distance? It was about 405 feet on the double that he hit. It was an automatic double because it bounced off the wall, but he hit into the deepest part of the ballpark.
I think his was 405. Benintendi's was 415.
It's a fly ball to left field. Joey Gallo is there, and so it is an easy out and a quick 2 outs for Giovanni Gallardo.
Just watching Adrian throw the ball back to the pitcher. Generally, when he gets the ball after the third, after an out, and he throws it back to the pitcher, he throws it hard. And if the first time you get one thrown at you, you have to be ready. And that time when he threw it to Gallardo, he threw it about knee high, and Gallardo had to bend down and struggle to catch it. Adrian tapped his chest and said, "My fault," and they both laughed.
It was 405 feet. That automatic double. Benintendi's was 417 feet.
417, okay.
The ball's hit out into that deep triangle right center field here at Fenway. When you think about that, doubles and triples that were, I guess they were both doubles, better than 400 feet, then knowing that you only have to hit it 302 feet down the right field line. That's the pesky pole.
Yeah.
Quite the contrast.
Yep.
There is that pesky pole. Now, did you ever notice this? I've pointed this out to some people with both of the foul poles here at Fenway, how they're lit up. Like there is, I don't know if it's a light or a reflector. I mean, you could see it on the left field foul pole for
I
sure.
can't notice it on the right field one.
But they have lights on the lines and on the foul poles.
Yeah, that's a great idea.
You remember Bill Hasselman? Of course, he played here with the Texas Rangers and played with the Boston Red Sox. I brought it up to him one time. He says, you know, I played here X amount of years. I never, ever even noticed
Has it always been that way?
Ever since I've been here, I've always noticed it every time I've come through. But I've never heard kind of what the official deal is. Here you see the lights right there. I don't think you see it in any other ballpark.
Yeah, why not?
You know, I don't know if it's reflective tape. I mean, it looks like a light there. I think it's a light. Ground ball to the right side. Easy play for Rougned Odor. It turns out to be a very easy inning for Giovanni Gallardo. So he does a nice job of bouncing back after the long third. We'll head to the top of the fifth. The Rangers still trail by 3. A legendary lager for legendary moments. Ranger fans, this Bud's for you. Well, it is the top of the fifth inning. Beautiful view right there of Fenway Park. No traffic here in Boston this late at night. It is a warm summer evening here in Massachusetts, and the Rangers now trailing by a score of 5-2 as they flip the order over for a third time, and Shin-soo Choo steps in. So Beeks is back out for a second inning of work. I mentioned it. He's been a starter throughout his career. This is just his second big league game. He was recalled today. I didn't even see the roster list, so I don't even know who they sent down.
I don't either.
Must have been one of their righties.
I didn't know he was here either.
When I saw lefty standing on the mound, wait a minute, who is that guy? They had no lefties in the pen yesterday. Choo takes that fastball in off the plate. Beeks was a 12th round pick back in 2014 at the University of Arkansas. And as we mentioned, he turns 25 years old today. Breaking ball. That one is called third strike. Choo didn't like it. It looked like it might have been just off the plate, but Alan Porter said no, that caught the corner. Strike 3.
That was a big breaking curveball and comes close to the outside corner, right? Almost touching it. You can see the ball spinning out of his hand. That's what a curveball looks like. Comes down just near the outside corner.
Choo is a difficult guy to strike out, and for the rookie Beeks, certainly something to be proud of, especially right now with the way that Choo has been swinging the bat. 48 straight games in which he has reached base. You know how much he prides himself on his ability to work the strike zone. You see him shaking his head in some frustration at that call by Alan Porter.
Yeah, I think the way Shin-soo Choo is going right now over the last 48 games, if he takes a close pitch, umpire should know it's not a strike. Just call it a ball. He doesn't miss. That one was close, though. That could have gone either way. That was not a blatantly bad call by the umpire. Right on the corner. Barely touching the corner.
Andrews swings and misses. Now, you've obviously played a ton of ball, watched a ton of baseball. Do you feel like the left on left, the strike zone, it seems like it always gets a little expanded away, more left on left than right on right?
I tell you, one guy it used to is David Murphy. David stood a little bit off the plate, and it got to be so ridiculous that we used to call it the Murphy zone, or
really?
a David Murphy strike. I don't know if it was an optical illusion to the umpires, but I don't know how many times he would take a pitch that would be off the plate, looked like it was 2, 3, 4 inches outside, and more often than not, he never got that call. So yeah, in that particular case, I definitely noticed it.
Seems like something with the lefties on left that there always seems to be an expansion of the strike zone.
Like a changeup that Elvis got enough of the bat on to drive for a base hit. Line drive into right field.
And good to see that for Elvis. The batting average against lefties has been down this year. Just 171 coming into this game. A little bit of a surprise. He has been so good against lefties over the course of his career. There's been some bad breaks in there, and he's talked about not quite catching his groove yet, but he came in 277 against the righties and just 171 against the lefties as Nomar Mazara steps in and takes a fastball inside for ball 1. 0 for 2 night so far for Mazara. He grounded out and hit into a fielder's choice back in the 3rd inning. Here's the 1-0 from Beeks, and it's a breaking ball lifted high and deep to right field near the track, and it is caught. And what a play in right field by Mookie Betts, who throws to first, trying to get Elvis Andrews, but that ball certainly was over the wall and should have been headed into the bullpen. But it appears that Mookie Betts brought that one back.
Yeah, he had it timed all the way. We were talking yesterday about this is a perfect place to make a spectacular catch. This wasn't quite spectacular, but it was very nice, and it definitely would have been a home run. But I think Mookie was prepared to go a lot higher than that and maybe go into the Red Sox bullpen if that's what it took to catch that ball. Had it timed perfectly, and Nomar sees what could have been a home run turn into a long out to right field. Perfectly timed by Mookie Betts, and then that was a long-range throw he made from the bullpen all the way to first base to make it a somewhat close play. Mitch couldn't quite come up with a short hop, but pretty impressive all-around play.
A good play by Mookie Betts, and Jalen Beeks has caught a couple of breaks so far in his inning in 2/3. He nearly threw one away, but a nice defensive play by Xander Bogaerts turned that into a double play, and now a home run is brought back against Nomar Mazara. Tough break for Nomar. Adrian Beltre steps in. Count 1-1. He is 0 for 2 so far this evening with a couple of strikeouts. Adrian is hitting .356 against left-handed pitching this year. But it's a slow ground ball to Bogaerts. Flips the second for the force out there. It's a fielder's choice, and the inning is over.
Well, it turns out to be a no-run inning for the Rangers. If it wasn't for this catch by Mookie Betts, it would be a 2-run inning and a 5-4 ball game. Instead, it's 5-2 Red Sox heading to the bottom of the 5th.
They're watching the Rangers trailing the Boston Red Sox by 3, and Mookie Betts now steps in, and it has been a tremendous year. We just saw him show off the glove, but how about some of those ranks offensively in the American League? I was thinking about this too after watching him make that catch, and you start looking around, and there are some good overall all-around players right now. Obviously Mike Trout, Jose Ramirez plays good defense, Francisco Lindor. These are all guys that are near the top players right now in the American League. Mookie Betts, I don't mean to be a prisoner of the moment here necessarily, but you start thinking about overall play.
He's in the conversation, that's for sure.
And the stolen bases too, right? Especially this day and age, they have gone down more and more. Flashing the leather, hitting for average, hitting for power. There really isn't anything this guy can't do.
No, and you know, Benintendi hasn't quite reached the levels that Mookie Betts has reached, but he's right there with him as that kind of a ball player. They've each stolen 16 bases. They can each play center field. One's a left fielder, one's a right fielder, but both of them have played center field. They're both high on base percentage guys. Betts is a little bit further in his career than Benintendi is, but they're pretty similar in what they can do on the field.
Well, Betts pulls one down the left field line. It'll roll into the corner. Joey Gallo fields it, but it'll be an easy stand-up leadoff double for Mookie Betts.
Fastball coming out of Gallardo's hands, and a swing by Betts pulled that one right down the line.
So a good inning for Betts, a great play in right field, and now the leadoff double. And Andrew Benintendi chases one out of the zone, count 0-1.
And the American League's kind of going through another cycle of great shortstops. You could go back a number of years and remember Jeter, Garcia Parra, A-Rod, just to name several of them back then. Miguel Tejada was an all-star for the A's. Guys that are playing shortstop in the American League right now, right there with those guys. Especially if you call Manny Machado a shortstop now instead of a third baseman. He says that's what he's going to be.
I was going to say, if you ask him, it's an easy answer, which has certainly made things very interesting as we'll head to Baltimore after the game tomorrow night and start a 3-game series on Friday with the Orioles. And Manny Machado is the subject of many trade rumors. He'll be a free agent at the end of the year, and the Orioles are struggling, so it seems to be that he will be in a different uniform sooner than later as this ground ball is hit to the right side. Nice play by Ronald Guzman. He'll flip over to Gallardo, and Betts will move over to third. But the question becomes now with Machado is whether or not he will want to play another position, because he says he does not. And how about a quick Chevy game break? Let's throw it back to Rick Renner. Thank you, Rick. And you just mentioned Francisco Lindor, some of the great shortstops around the American League. He certainly is one of them. But how do you feel about that as Tom, as maybe an acquiring team, if you're looking into a guy like Manny Machado? And you know, he's been a third baseman, came up as a shortstop, that moved him over to third just because it was a better fit for what the Orioles had. Now this year he is playing shortstop, and he's wanted to play short. And the idea that there are a lot of teams that would be interested in him as a third baseman. The Yankees sound like they may be one of them. If you're a general manager and you're sitting on the other side, and you're knowing that that bat can help you, but he might be resistant to playing third, how do you handle that?
Yeah, I wouldn't go get him unless I knew he was going to play where I wanted him to play. It's going to cost too much to get him. It's not going to cost as much as you would think, though, because he can be a free agent at the end of the year. But at the same time, I'd like to have a little bit of a feel for whether he would play third base if that's a spot I had for him. Otherwise, I think I'd have to go with what he said. I'm a shortstop, and I want to be a shortstop. And if I was trying to get him to be a third baseman, I'd have to think twice about it if he was going to come over there and not want to do it. At the same time, if you get him and you put him at third base, I don't think he's going to quit.
Yeah, that's the part that's interesting. I mean, just one of those deals, you feel comfortable taking that chance and saying, I get you're angry, do this for us, don't worry, you're going to be better off being on this team, and you're still going to get paid this way.
Well, I remember when we had Alfonso Soriano, and our shortstop, can't remember who it was, got hurt. He was a second baseman, and he wouldn't play shortstop. Then he didn't want to play the outfield, and so the Rangers traded him, and he went to Washington, and Frank Robinson was the manager, and he put him in left field, and Soriano said he wouldn't play left field, and Frank Robinson said, good, then go home, because if you're going to play for me, you're going to play left field. If you don't want to play, go home. And Soriano, with a smile on his face, went out to left field. You know, sometimes what's a player going to do? So I guess that's another way to look at it. If you want Manny Machado to play third base, go get him and tell him that's where he's playing. If he doesn't want to play, let him go home.
Yeah, it's really interesting. I wonder about how you relay that message.
Yeah,
you're in
I don't know.
You're in that situation with him. Is it that you prefer not to, or do you throw it out there and take that hard stance, or you leak it? You have your agent leak it to other people. That
I would
kind of
figure
stuff?
out a way to talk to his agent and find out that information from his agent. Again, I don't know if that's something that you can do when it's not your player. Can you talk to the agent about a player? I don't know if you can or not, but I'd go out of my way to try to figure out a way to find out what the answer is.
And the craziest part of all that, I always thought Manny Machado would be a good shortstop at the big league level. According to the advanced metrics, he actually ranks dead last among shortstops right now.
Yeah.
Negative 19 defensive run saves. Whatever, take that for what it's worth.
Well, we're going to get a look at him this weekend if he's still there, and maybe we can have a little bit of an idea. I can't make a comment on that because I haven't seen him play shortstop. So
I was shocked when I saw that. So we will see. But right now here for Giovanni Gallardo after the visit from pitching coach Doug Brocail. He's got first and third with one out, trying to find a way to get that double play and get out of this as Mitch Moreland steps in 1 for 2 with a single and a ground out to the right side.
Alex Rodriguez went to the Yankees and played shortstop. I mean, played third base when he was still a good shortstop. So I guess it depends on the player.
You could argue that he was probably defensively still the best shortstop on that team, but he was playing third as Jeter got a little bit older. Yeah. And even when they were in their primes, I think Alex probably was the better shortstop.
Yeah.
Count 2-0 now to Mitch Moreland as we take a look at our Southwest.com bullpen live look. And there is Gallardo Rodriguez warming up, the right-hander for the Rangers. And the 2-0. This one is drilled into center field. Delano DeShields is there. Mookie Betts will tag and score easily, so it'll be a sac fly for Mitch Moreland, and run number 6 comes across for the Red Sox.
Second straight ball Mitch has hit right on the barrel of the bat. Had some solid exit velocity. One of those balls as a hitter, you're glad to get the sacrifice fly, but you wish you just elevated it a little bit. Mitch has great power to left center field, and that's a pitch tailing away a little bit on the outside corner. And Mitch can hit that ball just like Choo does, 400 feet to left center field. Just didn't get it up in the air.
He hit it hard, 107 miles per hour, and Alexander Bogaerts will step in. The conversation I thought was very interesting. You're talking about Mitch Moreland, his ability to hit the ball the other way, and why that's a good fit here. The Red Sox signed him very early this offseason for a very reasonable deal, 2 years and $13 million. And we know what a great defender he is, and certainly Ranger fans are very familiar with his work. That's a signing that worked well for the team where they were, and then also for the ballpark. That's why I think a lot of people thought Eric Hosmer would have been a great fit here. He hits the ball the other way extremely well, especially when he hits the ball to left field. He hits it in the air often, and I think some Red Sox fans started dreaming on what Eric Hosmer could do with that wall. But it's worked out really well here for Mitch Moreland.
For dollar spent, I'll take Mitch Moreland for $6 million over Eric Hosmer for $20 million any day. That's nothing against Eric Hosmer. He's an excellent player. But for the price, and the Red Sox can't have a $20 million player everywhere. And they're looking at some younger players who are going to be in line for some pretty good contracts. When you look at Mookie Betts and Benintendi. And they've got several pitchers making a ton of money. David Price, Sale, Porcello, Kimbrel. If you want to be anywhere near the luxury tax, there's only so many $15 to $25 million players you can have. So that if you can get a nice bargain on a solid player like Mitch Moreland, then that makes a lot of sense.
It was a good sign by Dave Dombrowski, and they are well over the luxury tax. They have the highest payroll in Major League Baseball to the Boston Red Sox at about $247 million. A couple of free agents next year. We just showed you Craig Kimbrell, he'll be a free agent. Joe Kelly will also at the end of the season. Xander Bogaerts has got a couple of more years, and then they have the guys that they have control over. It's going to be JD Martinez through 2022. Andrew Benintendi, still a very young player, and so there's some money spent, especially though in that rotation. Here's a ground ball hit to the left side. Elvis Andrus fields it very easily and cleanly, flips it over to Rougned Odor, and the 5th inning is over. But the Red Sox add one more. They lead it by 4 over the Rangers. Red Sox here in the top of the 6th inning. But thanks to T-Mobile, fans can get a 20% discount on Fridays for the all-you-can-eat seats in the home run porch. Get tickets for Friday, July 20th by visiting TexasRangers.com/specials. I think I would have having my all-you-can-eat donuts day today. A double dip today. What a strange day I had. I know everybody's really curious about this and they want to know, but all I've eaten today, salad and donuts. I don't, playing for the tie, I guess.
Like at the same meal, or?
No, I mean, this is over the course of the day. I had a little salad mix this morning for lunch.
Was the salad your appetizer or your entree?
It was the entree. As Rougned Odor lines one down.
Hit the pole.
Right to Lionel Most. It's really crazy how close those can be.
I heard you talking. I wasn't part of the conversation about the gourmet donuts. They sounded like they were pretty impressive.
So I took care of the boys in the truck today. There's a place, I think it's called Blackbird or something like that, not too far here from Fenway. They have some pretty interesting donuts that I purchased for the boys in the truck, boys and girls in the truck, and they had one very, very interesting one that looked exactly like an everything bagel, and I just assumed it was an everything bagel. I looked in, I was like, that's weird. They have all donuts here and only one bagel. And I said, what is that? And it said like everything donut. I was like, that's an everything bagel, right? She said, no, it's actually a donut that tastes exactly like an everything bagel and looks like an everything bagel. And so I purchased one and had a little piece, and it was delicious. It did taste exactly.
Did you think you were eating a bagel?
The taste was exactly the same. It's just that it had more of a texture of a donut. Blackbird Donuts is the name of it. Very close here, walking distance to Fenway. And then there was Dunkin' Donuts inside the press room here. I had a salad for lunch here and had a bunch of munchkins. And there's a base hit by Rougned Odor to lead things off here in the 6th inning.
I understand you got a pretty good bargain on those donuts too, like $40 a dozen, was it?
Yeah, I bought 14, and it was just under $50.
Well, Rugi continues to do exactly what we've been bragging about the last 3 weeks. That's make steady progress. Today he's got a long home run that he pulled to right field, was on base and scored a run on a hit by pitch, and this time he hits a line drive to left center field to lead off an inning.
You love seeing that. That is 3 really good at bats. The home run, hit by pitch against a lefty. He hung in there as Ronald Guzman almost gets hit.
No, Rugi's got his
other way.
Yeah, he's got his average up to around 240-ish. He's not counting tonight. 38 for 140. So in his last 140 bats, he's hitting over 270. and his first 75 at bats he hit 170. So if you looked at where he was when he was hitting 171 and where he is now, that's very good progress. Probably hitting 280 since that slow start that he got off of.
Yeah, and the other part of that too is, you know, batting average without a doubt still has value, but I think it's the way that he's gotten there, right? That you can believe in it a little bit more, right? If a guy's got a bunch of bleeder hits or ground balls that are getting through and maybe some ugly swings, you would be a little bit concerned. Is that really going to hold over the long term? But we're seeing Odor bunt really well.
Yeah.
We're seeing him show much more patience. We talked about that last night. His
hit the
walks
ball
per
left
plate
field.
appearance. I mean, all those things that you're looking for from a hitter. Mookie has really done a nice job, and the idea of adjusting in the middle of the season is certainly not an easy thing to do. As there's another fastball up and into Ronald Guzman. He doesn't look too happy.
Yeah, you look at all those things that he's doing and see it happen over a fairly long period of time, and it becomes more of a trend than just a little blip on the radar. And all those things will lead to a good batting average. Get that.
And this one is lifted to center field, but caught, and a nice play by Jackie Bradley Jr. You mentioned this at the start of the game, how deep the defense is here in all three positions. This is a good outfield that they have here in Boston, and they're showing it off tonight.
Yeah, and Jackie Bradley's a really good center fielder. What a jump he got on that ball. It looked like a base hit. Ronald has a couple of hits in this ball game. That ball he hit harder than either one of the hits, a double and a single, almost his third hit of the game in the 6th inning. Bradley made a great play on that, and he's got a tremendous arm in the outfield too.
Here's a ground ball to the left side, and that one is a fair ball down the line for Isaiah Kiner-Falefa. It'll go for extra bases. Odor will hold up at third, and so it is a 1-out double for Kiner-Falefa.
We talked earlier how with a man on second, it's hard to score on a base hit to left field if it's anywhere near the left fielder. It's also hard to score from first base on a double when it's hit to left field. When you see the left fielder go after this ball in a normal field, if you're 330 or 40 feet away, you might have a chance. But when he hits the cutoff man, Bogaerts is right behind shortstop, so his throw was going to be a simple throw home and not a long throw from a cutoff man. You don't really have any chance to score.
It's one of those things, as much as the wall gives, it'll also take away a little bit as we see some action now in the Boston Red Sox bullpen. That's Brandon Workman, the right-hander down there, Tom. And just to finish up what you were talking about with Odor, since he was hitting 171 back on May 23rd, since the 24th, including the 2 hits tonight, he's now hitting 281 over that span.
It's pretty good.
It's been a very good run for Odor, and that on-base percentage near 360 over that time.
I remember coming to a playoff game here when I was a player. The Red Sox were playing the A's, and a couple of friends and I came to the game, and I probably won't have it exactly right, but Sal Bando, I remember him hitting 4, might have been 2 or 3 line shots off the monster, and every one of them ended up being a single.
Well, that is going to be it now. Pitching change here for the Boston Red Sox. At least I think there's going to be. We haven't had an official word here just yet.
They've got a lefty on the mound and a righty warming up and a lefty at the plate. But maybe it's one of those righties that gets out lefties, right?
Yeah, I think it was Alex Cora trying to buy some time. So there is the sign, and Brandon Workman will be coming in. This is our Who's In, Who's Out pitching change. It's sponsored by In-N-Out Burger. 1 out. And let's take a look at our progressive upcoming schedule. We've got one more game here against the Red Sox tomorrow night. It'll be an off day on Thursday. That'll be taken in Baltimore. And then the Rangers play a 3-game set at Camden Yards heading into the All-Star break. And then finally back home on July 20th, 7 games, 3 against the Cleveland Indians, 4 against the A's, and then back on the road to finish up the season series with the Houston Astros. And now Brandon Workman is on for the Red Sox.
Well, Brandon Workman having a nice season for the Red Sox. Pitched 14 1/3, only 8 hits, a 160 opponent's batting average in a small sample, strikeout per inning. Comes in with a 1-out 2nd and 3rd situation in a 6-2 ball game.
And this is interesting, right? You think, okay, why go right to left? Why would you bring the lefty or take the lefty out of the game with the left-hander Joey Gallo? I kind of see it, though. You can see from Beeks and the stuff that he had wasn't overpowering, and a couple of good swings from lefties. Nomar Mazara almost hit a home run against him. Joey Gallo hit that rocket foul. So that's Alex Cora
120 miles an hour.
Right, that's Alex Cora not looking at numbers or not just looking at left and right, but looking at the stuff and the swings. And Brandon Workman has been very good against lefties this year. Just a 158 batting average against left-handers. And so from that standpoint, you could see why Alex Cora would make this move.
Yeah. Odor had a hit, Guzman had a hit, and almost another one. Lefties were swinging pretty well against him.
So Workman is down in the count 2-0 to Joey Gallo. He's only inherited 3 runners this year. One of them has scored. He's got 2 right now with runners at 2nd and 3rd after the Rougned Odor base hit. A line out by Guzman. A very nice play by Jackie Bradley Jr. And then it was the double by Isaiah Kiner-Falefa. And that ended the night for Beeks as Joey Gallo chases one out of the zone.
Joey was guessing for a strike right there. 2 balls and no strikes. Geared up to hit a fastball.
Here's the 2-1 breaking ball below the zone. Joey Gallo offers at it, so the count now even 2-2.
A power curveball, 83 miles an hour. Sharp break to it, and it had a lot of break as well. A lot of break, and it was sharp, straight down.
And here's the 2-2, and this one is lifted to deep left center field. Jackie Bradley Jr. is looking up. This one will be off the wall. It'll be extra bases for Joey Gallo. Rougned Odor and Isaiah Kiner-Falefa score easily. And so it is a towering 2 RBI double from Joey Gallo, and it is now 6-4 with the Red Sox still leading.
Hey, the way Bradley played that ball, I thought it was going to be a home run because he never moved. But what he was doing was he knew where it was going to hit. He's played out there enough. He was just getting ready to play it off the wall. Good job by Joey Gallo. He swung at a high fastball, missed a curveball. Workman tried to sneak a fastball by him. He hits it right about halfway up on the Green Monster. Jackie Bradley's waiting exactly where that ball caromed to.
I'm with you. The casual body language had me second guessing myself as far as how far that ball went.
Yeah, me too.
By the way, Rougned Odor has scored for the 3rd time tonight. Isaiah Kiner-Falefa the other run for the Rangers, and now Delano DeShields will step in with 1 out and Joey Gallo in scoring position. See the 0 for 2 for Delano so far this evening. Flew out in the 2nd. That ground ball fielder's choice came back in the 4th. And there's a slider that is lifted to shallow left field. Benintendi is there for the easy out. So now it is 2 outs. The Rangers with Joey Gallo at 2nd. Shin-soo Choo steps in. You see 0 for 2, but that walk in the 3rd inning extended his on base streak to now 48 games. That is a single season franchise record. He had yesterday off. We'll see whether or not he plays tomorrow against the lefty Sale, who's scheduled to go for the Boston Red Sox. taken. Strike one to Choo. Breaking ball just misses down in the zone. So count 1-1 to Shin-soo Choo. It's been a good inning here for the Rangers. Ruben Odor led it off with a base hit. Ronald Guzman was robbed of a base hit, and Isaiah Kiner-Falefa came up with a big double down the left field line. That chased the reliever Beeks. Joey Gallo just hit a towering double driving in two. The Shields flew out, and now here is Choo with 2 outs, and here's the 1-1. And breaking ball is fouled. Count now 1-2. This is pretty interesting. 48 straight games in which Choo has gotten on base. Well, you compare that to the great Ted Williams, who does have the single season record at 84 games. Also has 69 and a 48. So Ted's third longest streak is where Choo is right now.
Yeah, I bet you Ted had about 15 or 20 that were over 20 games too. Hard not to when you're walking 100 times and hitting 340 every year. Or 400 one year.
Greatest that we have ever saw, and now Choo. It's a short one hopper into shallow right field. The second baseman Holt is there, so he throws over to first, and the inning is finished, but not before the Rangers add 2 more.
Joey Gallo with a 2-run double. He's also walked a couple of times in the game. Has the Rangers right back in this game at 6-4.
Texas Rangers. Well, fans, you can enjoy your next Rangers game in the comfort of a climate-controlled suite. Most suite packages include parking and a food and beverage package. Make sure you visit TexasRangers.com/suites. Well, Ricardo Rodriguez was rudely greeted by Brock Holt as he swings at the first pitch and gets himself a base hit up the middle.
Ricardo Rodriguez against the Tigers pitched well, 1 2/3, gave up a hit in that game, but no walks and a couple of strikeouts through 22 pitches. Kid with a good fastball, 94 to 97 miles an hour. Sure, he's pretty excited about pitching at Fenway Park.
So Rafael Devers steps in and takes a pitch on the corner, called strike one. Rodriguez was called up from AAA Round Rock on July 5th. He made his season debut. We just showed you that game. It is his second stint with the Texas Rangers. First time around, he did not make an appearance. He was up for 3 days from June 18th to the 20th. So there's been some time in between his outings, but like you mentioned, a guy with a good arm. That game that he pitched, he was in a big spot in that Detroit Tigers game, and certainly has an opportunity to play an important role in the Ranger bullpen. He threw the ball incredibly well down in AAA Round Rock. He was 1-1 with a 1.93 ERA, just 4 earned runs allowed in 18 2/3 innings. And here's a ground ball hit to Elvis Andrus. He'll step on the bag over to first, and it'll be a 6 unassisted to 3 double play. And so with one pitch, Rodriguez is able to eliminate Brock Holt.
Let's check out our 4-game summary and go back to the 3rd inning for the Red Sox. With 1 out, Blake Swihart hits one 405 feet. Jackie Bradley hits a line shot into the gap. Andrew Benintendi hits one 417 feet. J.D. Martinez up the middle. Mitch Moreland a rope. And Xander Bogaerts a triple. 6 base hits in that inning. All of them came off the bat at more than 99 miles an hour. And the Red Sox had a big 5-run 3rd inning.
We've talked a lot about their offense. It is a good one, and one that runs deep. And we get into that inning that we saw, the 3-run inning. Excuse me, the 5-run inning for the Boston Red Sox. And it started with the bottom of the order. A quick fly out by Devers, who's batting 7th, but then it was Swihart and Bradley batting 8th and 9th with the back-to-back doubles, and then you had to get to that real tough part of the lineup. But here's a ground ball that goes off the glove of Rodriguez. Ruben Odor is going to field it, but there's going to be no play for him as he was headed up the middle. So it will be an infield base hit for Swihart, his 2nd of the night.
Take a look at the replay. Tailing ball. Probably not even a strike when he hit it. Rodriguez had it gauged pretty well, just kicked off the side of his glove, and the one hopper went from an out to a base hit. But yeah, going back to that 3rd inning, after Devers flied out to center field, Swihart had a couple of strikes on him and had hit a couple of little dinky, lazy pop-ups down the left field line. Didn't look like it was going to amount to much of an at-bat. And all of a sudden, out of nowhere, he launched one 400 feet to right field.
Well, this ball is driven in the gap the opposite way. It'll roll up to the wall. Gallardo to Fields gets it into Elvis Andrus. Here comes a throw. The play at the plate, not in time. Now a throw down to 3rd by Isaiah Kiner-Falefa to Adrian Beltre, and Jackie Bradley Jr. is thrown out. He is ruled out. So a nice play by Isaiah, and the inning is over, but not before the Red Sox add another.
A lot of good throws on that play. Good relay throw to Elvis, a solid throw home, and then Kiner-Falefa, a quick delivery to 3rd, and Adrian puts the tag on Jackie Bradley for the last out. The inning ended. Delino gets the ball off the wall. Great throw home by Elvis. Safe at the plate. Kiner-Falefa with a good quick throw to third base. Jackie Bradley, who hit the double, got the RBI, was out at third base. And a nice play by Kiner-Falefa. Picked that short hop from Elvis, turned it into an out at third base. Nice play.
I mean, all of it. I mean, the pick is unbelievable, right? Backhand pick with a catcher's glove on. We know, of course, he is an infielder by trade. He's done a nice job behind the plate, but my goodness.
I said great throw from Elvis. I thought the way that Kiner-Falefa caught it and threw it, that it was an accurate throw. It actually was kind of off the bag, and he caught it on a short hop. Made it look kind of like Bogarts did on that double play.
Yeah, very casual and clean, and so
a little tougher to do it though with the catcher's mitt and equipment on.
He continues to impress as Matt Barnes is the new pitcher coming out of the Red Sox bullpen tonight here in the top of the 7th. And it was a good throw too on the money. I was curious about this as I was watching that play develop for an outfielder. And it's probably an easier play for Delano, right? Because he's coming from center field. But Joey has the stronger arm of the two. Is that something that comes into the equation when it's pretty close or either guy could take it?
I think where that comes into play, CJ, more than anything would be on a sacrifice fly that's between the outfielders. Provided that Joey could get in position to throw, you would probably want him to take it. On that particular play, where the cutoff throw to Elvis in this ballpark is not a long throw, it's probably better whoever gets it first to make the throw, because the stronger arm really wouldn't show up as much on that short relay throw.
Yeah, and I don't think there would have been anything different necessarily. I mean, Delano did a really nice job and got the ball to his cutoff man the way that he was supposed to.
Actually, I think Joey could have picked it up just as quickly and made the same throw, really. I don't know if Delano called him off or not, but where it takes a strong throw, that one didn't take a strong throw, then I think definitely you want the guy with the stronger arm to try to take it.
So Elvis goes down on strikes for the first out here in the 7th inning. It was a good job. I mean, they couldn't have done much better than they did as far as the execution on the cutoff and the relay, and then the heads-up play by Isaiah Kiner-Falefa. We saw bench coach Don Wakamatsu talking to Kiner-Falefa after the fact.
Then again, just based on my observation and not on any type of analytics, I would make the statement that the Rangers are very good at that. Outfielders getting the ball to the cutoff man and the infielders making strong, accurate throws to whichever base is appropriate. They appear to me to make good relay throws and accurate throws to the cutoff man. Now there is an analytics for that, right?
You know what? That's a good question. I haven't seen one. I'm sure there's something. I don't know. I know they have it for things like base running, taking extra bases, little things you might not think of necessarily. I don't know if they have a way of measuring. Certainly they do on the exchange, like say for Elvis, but the accuracy, hitting your cutoff man, because the other part of that analytically is you're not going to be able to tell without using your eyes to say when you should be hitting the cutoff man and when you shouldn't be, right? There are times where you shouldn't be hitting
when
the
it doesn't even matter.
Yeah.
Nope, you know, winning run trying to score.
All that kind of stuff. And by the way, real quick, that was a really cool little reel. I wish it was the other way around, but that you went through with the Red Sox in that inning and how hard they were hitting the ball with the exit velocity. This probably doesn't surprise anybody, but they are, as a team, leading all of Major League Baseball. They are the only team that has had an average exit velocity above 90 miles an hour. That is for all batted balls. The league average is 88. The Red Sox 90.2 miles per hour.
Wow. Well, you can get cheap hits off the handle and off the end of the bat that don't register a high exit velocity. But when you've got one of the highest batting averages, extra base hits, you're hitting a lot of home runs. When you've got that many good hitters in the lineup, there's a pretty good chance that a lot of those balls are being hit on the barrel of the bat. When they are, they're going more than 90 miles an hour. So, yeah, when you watch that inning, it was kind of 6 at-bats that illustrate what they've been doing all season long. That's basically throughout their lineup, hitting the ball hard.
3-1, we just saw Nomar Mazara go above the zone. That has been what we have seen on this road trip. Some of that advanced scouting picking up on Nomar Mazara having a little bit of an issue with fastballs up in the zone. I'm kind of digging into that a little bit and what that looks like. And for a team like the Rangers, you're always scouting ahead. So their advanced scouts are looking at the Baltimore Orioles right now. They're putting reports together, trends, not just the numbers for the season. Anybody could do that, but your advanced scouts out there putting some recent information together, as Nomar fouls off 98 miles per hour. And as a player, I love the advanced scouting information more than the overall scouting, because you knew who guys were. You're around the league enough, information traveled. I want to know, what is the guy doing lately? What pitch is he chasing? What is he hitting well?
Yeah, maybe he's got a sore wrist. He's not getting around on the ball. Maybe an outfielder has a sore arm. Who knows? But yeah, that's the main part of it. What are they doing now?
Here's the 3-2, and the breaking ball just catches the inside corner. And so back-to-back strikeouts here for Matt Barnes. Well, time now for a word from our friends at Kia.
At Kia, get America's best value backed by a 10-year, 100,000-mile warranty.
So 2 outs and nobody on here in the top of the 7th inning for the Rangers. Adrian Beltre will step in. Adrian is 0 for 3 this evening. A couple of strikeouts in the 2nd and 3rd inning, and he grounded out into a fielder's choice back in the 5th. And he swings at the first pitch and fouls it off his ankle, 0-1. Ooh, toe, I mean. Did I say toe. Ankle? And the 0-1 from Barnes, 98 miles an hour. Yikes. A little crossfire to that delivery,
I don't see many right-handed hitters doing a whole lot with that pitch. Coming from that angle that he came at 98 miles an hour, and where it ended up. Good luck.
Barnes has dominated right-handed hitters this year. Just a 102 batting average against righties. You can see why.
There's that same pitch a little bit higher. Tried to get him to chase a high fastball. 97, 98 miles an hour.
And there's the breaking ball out of the zone. Adrian Beltre offered at it. Alan Porter says he went. The ball is in the dirt. So the throw down to first, and Adrian is retired. 3rd strikeout of the night for Adrian, and Barnes strikes out 3 Rangers in a row here in the 7th.
Seventh inning here at Fenway Park. If it's the bottom of the 7th inning, that means Isiah Kiner-Falefa is back behind the plate. It's the next step in the progression from him. That after playing third base yesterday. For about 3 weeks, he concentrated only on catching. But yesterday, Banny said it's time for him to get back on the dirt. He calls what Kiner-Falefa is doing right now monumental. That is catching and playing infield positions. Banny says only Russell Martin could do this elsewhere in the league. That's the only other player Banny thinks could do it. For his part, Isiah was his normal self. He said, well, what the heck, I did it in the minors last year. I think I can do it at this level too. And you know what? So far he's proving he can, guys.
Yeah, that's a great point, John. He is proving he can, and I guess you can't underestimate how hard it is to do what he's doing. You can only think of one other player you think might be able to do it.
Mookie Betts hits one hard to left field. It'll be off the wall. Good play by Joey Gallo to hold Betts to a single. Well, I would agree with that. I mean, the idea of him going catcher to the infield, back to catcher, and it has been a seamless transition so far for Isaiah Kiner-Falefa. He's looked very good defensively at both positions, and pretty unusual to see that. It's one thing to be an emergency catcher, it's another one to be an impactful catcher.
Definitely. And you think of all the things that go into preparing yourself to play. Don't even count the offensive part where you have to work on your swing, your batting practice, the techniques, the video that goes into the offensive part. But you have to figure out defensively where to take your ground balls, where's your best chance of playing, third or second, take them there. When you catch, you have to be in the pitcher's meetings and work with the pitcher and talk about his strengths and the hitter's strengths and weaknesses. So there's a long day involved every time Isaiah comes to the ballpark. But again, you know, he's a young player. He's done this in the minor leagues. He's been prepared for it. He's a bright kid, thrilled to be in the big leagues. It's fun for him. Might be hard work, but he's definitely happy to do it.
He certainly is doing it well. I wonder too about the off days. You talk about, you know, which ground balls to take, where to work on your defense. The days that he knows that he has off days, that he's not in the starting lineup. What decision do you make? Do you ask the manager, hey, where's the next position I'm going to play?
I don't know. I think you probably take ground balls at both positions that you'll have the best chance to play, which for him are probably second and third. Although with Profar now as the swing man, he's probably not going to play second base that much. Or shortstop. Profar will probably play each one of those positions when Rugi or Elvis doesn't play. So who knows? Maybe he takes 5 or 10 minutes blocking balls, practicing his catching, takes some ground balls, works on his hitting.
Benintendi hits a high fly ball to left center field. Delano Shields is going to play it off the green monster. No hesitation from Mookie Betts. He is going to score pretty easily, and it is a double for Andrew Benintendi, and the score now 8-4 with the Red Sox leading.
Yeah, you can hold these guys down occasionally in an inning, but sooner or later, boy, they just seem to come back and get you. Betts ripped one off the wall. He could only get a single. He hit it so hard. And Benintendi, that's the swing from left-hand hitters. And I think Benintendi talked about Freddie Lynn, Yaz, David Ortiz, the great left-handed hitters who have, Wade Boggs, who have really benefited from the green monster. Mitch Moreland is benefiting from it. And I think over the next 10 years, Benintendi is going to be right up there with Freddie Lynn. Maybe not Wade Boggs. It's tough to compare someone to a Hall of Famer, but as a young, developing Red Sox player who becomes a great player and peppers that wall with double after double.
7 more extra base hits tonight for the Boston Red Sox, extending their lead in all of Major League Baseball to 349. It's Benintendi's second double of the night and second RBI. And
talking about Benintendi and you know how much he must like playing in this. I think he was maybe the 6th or 7th pick in the draft the year he was picked. And he has to be thanking his lucky stars that it was the Red Sox that picked him and that no one ahead of him picked him. He would have done fine anywhere else, but this spot just seems perfect for him.
It wasn't that long ago, 2015, when Andrew Benintendi was taken with the 7th overall pick out of the University of Arkansas. I guess him and Beeks must have been teammates.
Yeah, they must have been at some point in time.
It did not take him very long to get to the big leagues. He made his debut the next year in 2016 at 21 years old. And had a nice year, 34 games, hit .295, and proved his worth as a big leaguer. And last season, his first full year in the big leagues, in 658 plate appearances, hit .271, had an OPS of 70-76. He hit 20 home runs and drove in 90.
Just getting warmed up.
And his pace is better than that so far here in 2018 as just a 23-year-old. Actually just turned 24 a couple of days ago on July 6th. This offense is an absolute juggernaut, and they have been over the last 17 games, scoring better than 7 runs on average per game.
There's been years where the Yankees and the Red Sox battled and had a lot of veteran guys in their lineup. I don't know that they've ever been this good and will battle down to the wire like they are right now with as many young players in their lineup. you look at the Yankees, they still have a lot of young players with Sanchez, their catcher, is pretty young. And Duhar, their third baseman, is pretty young. Second baseman, who's on the disabled list,
Gleyber Torres.
Gleyber Torres is very young. And even Aaron Judge is a young player. Look at the Red Sox. We already talked about their young players. Betts is 25. Benintendi's under that. Devers is 21. So these teams are poised to be strong teams for a long time.
The rivalry, I think, is renewed, and it seems like both of these clubs will be battling here for a while. And a couple of new managers. There's Alex Cora in his first year has done a nice job with this club. Everyone that I've talked to and I've asked how's it going with Alex, they rave about how the communication has been and how he has handled the clubhouse as JD Martinez chases one out of the zone. And that's so important in today's games. Things have changed even from the very beginning of my career. That was not something that was on the table. They didn't care about how nice your manager was to your players. And
whatever you say to me, I nod my head and go work as hard as I can.
Well, that has changed here a little bit now in the game as you see what's happening in the American League East. The Yankees trailing the Boston Red Sox by just a half a game. Now there's quite the difference in games played. It's 4 in the win column, just 1 in the loss column. So the Yankees have some games to make up, ones that they lost early in the season due to weather. But check this out. Best records prior to the All-Star break. And there are your Boston Red Sox this season, 63-29. That's .685 win percentage. What the Yankees did in 1998 is absurd. .753 on the winning percentage. That is just absolutely nuts.
Yeah, I'm not exactly sure what Billy Martin would have said if I went in and complained about a lack of communication. Except I could probably go out and my suitcase would already be packed.
I was just grateful that Sparky Anderson even talked to me.
Yeah, I felt the same way.
And he actually, I don't know if I ever told you the story, but I was pitching terrible. And he yelled across the clubhouse. He was kind of making fun of me for how bad I was pitching. I just got traded from the Reds. And he said, hey, I was just talking to one of my buddies with the Reds. And I told him you stink. He used different words, but in front of the whole team. And I felt so small. And he walked by me later. And I said, hey, Skip, how come you making fun of me like that in front of the whole team? And he looked at me and he said, kid, let me tell you something. He goes, it's better that I make fun of you than if I don't talk to you at all. And he was right. And there were young rookies in that clubhouse that he didn't talk to necessarily.
So that's his way of talking to you.
Yeah, I took it as the way he explained it to me that, I'm not going to say that he liked me, but he didn't hate me as he did maybe with some young rookies. And so I appreciated being made fun of by my manager.
That's pretty tough.
And by the way, we did not tell you if you missed it, Mitch Moreland was intentionally walked. And so it's first and second here with 1 out. The idea, of course, trying to set up that double play. Difficult to do here against the Boston Red Sox, but the Rangers have turned a couple of double plays in this series. 2 of them in the game tonight. One in the first inning with JD Martinez, another one in the 6th with Rafael Devers. Here's a high fly ball. Hit the shallow right field. Nomar Mazara's got plenty of room. He'll make the catch, and there is a fake tag, but no movement from Andrew Benintendi. How about a Chevy game break? Let's throw out to Rick Renner. Certainly been an interesting year for the Tampa Bay Rays, that is for sure. Jeff Bannister now has come out to get his right-hander out of the game, and Alex Claudio, the lefty, will be coming in when we get back. GMC dealer. And by 5-Hour Energy Shots. Get back to 100%. Oh, with a couple of outs here in the bottom of the 7th inning, Alex Claudio now has come on. A couple of runners on as well for the Boston Red Sox, who have already added 1 run in this inning, make it an 8-4 ball game. There are the numbers for Alex. Game number 38. See those 23 strikeouts to 5 walks for the Ranger left-hander. He came in and had an extended outing in his last game. That was on July 7th when we were in Detroit. He threw 3 innings and threw 57 pitches. And so it's been a couple of days off, and now Alex is back out there, Tom. And that was a concern coming into this one. When we saw the Red Sox score those 5 runs in the 3rd inning, the idea of having a long man, knowing that Matt Moore also pitched in that same game when Claudio threw. He threw 85 pitches, Claudio 57. And so certainly not a lot of options for a long man down there in the bullpen tonight for the Rangers.
No, that's why in the 3rd inning, Banny really didn't have anybody up. Gallardo was struggling, but he got through the 3rd, and then he gave Banny a couple of more innings, the 4th and the 5th, which those were, you know, in the overall scheme of things, pretty big innings to keep the bullpen from having to find someone to throw those 2 innings. So he recovered pretty well from that 3rd inning.
And there's the 1-2. Runners on the move. There's a throw down to 3rd, but Andrew Benintendi gets down there in plenty of time, and now Mitch Moreland will make his way down to 2nd base with the errant throw. And so it should be a stolen base for Benintendi and likely an error on Isaiah Kiner-Falefa.
He throws from his knees quickly, but wasn't able to make an accurate throw. You can see where Adrian's playing way over toward shortstop, so it's going to be a moving target, and there's nothing they could do about that. Throw was just a little bit low.
It was a good breaking ball from Claudio, just misses off the plate. So the count is now full here to the left-hander Brock Holt. And Rafael Devers, the next left-hander, waiting on deck. This 3-2 is hit down the left field line, but that'll reach the seats, and we'll do it again. Brock Holt playing 2nd base tonight. We saw Eduardo Nunez out there last night. No Dustin Pedroia. He has been dealing with the knee issues. He spent a little bit of time off the DL this year, but not very much. The Red Sox have not had the services of their former MVP 2nd baseman this year. And here's the 3-2, and here's a ground ball hit right to Elvis Andrus. Fields it cleanly over to Guzman, and the inning is over. But the Red Sox do indeed add 1 more. We're going to the 8th inning. You see it right there. The Red Sox leading 8-4.
Rookie is going to be leading off the 8th for the Rangers. Let's take a look at the day he's had so far. First time up, first pitch fastball, 447 feet to right field, a long home run. Next time up against the lefty, takes one off the shoulder. And the last time up, leading off the 6th inning, base hit to center field. Obviously, he scored a run when he hit the home run, but on the hit by pitch, leading off an inning, the base hit leading off an inning, he scored. So he's scored 3 runs, 2 for 2 with a hit by pitch. And here he is leading off the 8th inning. Rangers need a rally.
He's done a good job tonight, has Odor. Quality at bats all the way through. And now he'll get Joe Kelly, the next reliever, to come out of this Boston Red Sox bullpen. We saw Kelly last night, the high-powered arm, high velocity. And he is on to try to protect an 8-4 lead. And there's a breaking ball swung on and lifted to deep left field, but Andrew Benintendi's going to have enough room. He hauls that one in, and so Odor is retired on 1 pitch for the first time tonight. Just never know every ball that gets in the air, especially to left field. The wind's blowing a little bit. We see that flag out in center field kind of blowing in.
Yeah, I don't think the wind helped that ball. I think it might have hurt it a little bit, as high as it was hit.
So now Ronald Guzman will step in for his 4th plate appearance this evening. He doubled and singled in his first 2 at-bats, and then Jackie Bradley Jr. robbed him of a base hit in his 3rd at-bat. He had that line drive to center field. So Odor and Ronald Guzman back-to-back in the lineup tonight have put together some very good at-bats.
Yeah, not much from the top of the order today. A walk and a single, that's it. And starting with Rugi, Guzman, Falefa, all done well.
Ground ball to shortstop Xander Bogaerts, and it's an easy play for him. And Guzman is retired, and so 2 quick outs here for Joe Kelly on just 3 pitches. Let's take a look at our Ford probables tomorrow as we wrap up this season series between the Red Sox and the Rangers. Bartolo Colon will be going for your Rangers, going for win number 246. And on the other side, Chris Sale has been extremely good, an all-star this year. The left-hander with the nasty slider fastball. It'll be an interesting matchup tomorrow night here at Fenway Park. Isaiah Kiner-Falefa takes a first pitch slider at 91 miles an hour. We talked about this last night. Joe Kelly's in the top 5 as far as the average fastball velocity, averaging better than 97 miles per hour on the heater. I mean, I know it's becoming more and more common, but I'm still in awe when I see a 91 mile an hour slider.
I know. Yeah, 91 mile an hour cutter is one thing, but
I think Strasburg, and I know there's other guys that did it before him, but Strasburg was the one when he made his debut, and we saw him throwing that slider in the 90s. We saw Matt Harvey doing it as well, and they're usually the smaller breaks. It's almost like a big cutter, but still pretty unbelievable to see what these guys have
make it break that much and throw it that hard.
Kiner-Falefa is down in the count 0-2 against Joe Kelly, and there's a fastball up and in, 97. But unsettling there for the Ranger catcher. He is 1 for 3 tonight. He hit that double down the left field line. He later scored. That was in the 6th inning. He is grounded out to 3rd and also hit into a 1-6-3 double play. And the 1-2 from Kelly. Breaking ball in the dirt. Count even now 2-2. Always kind of interesting in these games if the Rangers cannot come back, being that Velasquez only threw 2 innings. A win would be up for grabs. That'll be a scorer's discretion is how that usually works. Excuse me, 3 innings for Velasquez. And the reason he only threw 3, he hadn't started since the 2nd week in April. He has been in the bullpen for the Boston Red Sox. Did a nice job in his 3 innings of work, but because he did not go at least 5, he does not qualify for the win. So official scorer's discretion if the Rangers don't come back on who would be credited with the W. At 99 miles an hour, Joe Kelly misses his spot pretty significantly, and so after being down 0-2, Isaiah Kiner-Falefa has worked to count full. Full count from Kelly, and this one is grounded to the right side. Brock Holt has it, throws over to first base, and so it is a 1-2-3 inning for Joe Kelly and the Red Sox. We will head to the bottom of the 8th inning. The Rangers still trailing by 4. No hidden fees. That's transparency. And by Ford. Visit your local Texas Ford dealer during the Ford Summer Sales Event. Ford is the best in Texas. A beautiful shot of Boston, Massachusetts, and some boats that are breaking the speed limit. If there is a boat speed limit, I'm sure there is. We are in the 8th inning here at Fenway Park. A really beautiful night here once again. Warm summer night, but as we get a little bit later, temperature comes down and it's turned into a good evening of baseball. But the Rangers have some work to do against this very tough Boston Red Sox club, leading all of baseball in wins, and they're currently holding on to a 4-run lead against the Rangers here in the bottom of the 8th. Alex Claudio back out.
How'd he get out of the way of that thing?
Rafael Devers getting a little agility work in here in the 8th.
Boy, I don't know how that missed his kneecap. I think some people might have tried to jump over that ball, but that saved him a giant bruise on his right knee.
Almost did a burpee right there. The second pitch misses in, and so the count now 2-0 to the left-handed hitting Devers. He's 0 for 3 tonight, grounded into a double play in the 6th. He also flew out in the 3rd and grounded out in the 4th. Alex Claudio right back in there again. So that is 3 in a row from Alex Claudio going inside to Devers. And that fastball misses way outside. So 4 pitches, and it's a walk for Devers against Alex Claudio. Well, the FIFA World Cup semifinals are on Fox and the Fox Sports app. It's Croatia versus England. That's going to be at noon Central. Mañana, that means tomorrow.
That means I'm going to be out here early.
Really?
Finding a TV to watch that game.
I mean, there's no shortage of bars in the area.
Well, I don't think I'm going to go to a bar, but I'm going to definitely catch I watched the whole game last time that England played. I'm going to try to catch that one tomorrow.
So 1 o'clock Eastern. We're in the Eastern time zone right now. Average match takes how long, do you think?
About 2 hours.
Oh, you've got plenty of time.
Yeah, I'm going to catch that.
Now, when you say you get here early, that means to the booth to watch it, or?
Yeah, I might come out here early and find a TV somewhere out here. Got to be some soccer fans out here.
Oh, there definitely are. There's definitely a lot of sports fans roaming
Guys that
around.
know a lot more than I do about it. I just know I want England to win. Big day today. France beat Belgium in a game 1-0. Must have been a good game. I didn't watch that one.
Was that the other semifinal?
Yeah. Yeah. So France will play the winner of Croatia and England tomorrow.
Very cool.
England looks good. I think they've got a team that can definitely contend. But if you want me to break it down, I'm going to defer to someone that knows what they're talking about.
You're not going to defer to me, that's for sure. A 1-2 count to Blake Swihart, and that changeup misses just out of the zone. So count even 2-2. Leadoff walk to Rafael Devers. Swihart doing the catching tonight for the Boston Red Sox, and he's having a nice night. 2 for 3 with a double, a single, a couple of runs scored. You should see the season average for him, just at 202, no home runs. But that's been due to limited playing time and opportunities, and there may be some more playing time for him as he slices this one into the seats. It's funny, we were talking about Isaiah Kiner-Falefa and kind of mentioning how you don't see utility guys that can catch. Well, Blake Swihart actually is kind of that guy. Now, he was a catcher first, and now they've kind of turned him into a little bit more of a utility guy as he fouls off that changeup. I mentioned the positions that he has played this year. He has been all over the place. He's caught, he's played first, second, third, left, and right field. I think it's different, though, and not to take anything away from what he is doing, but when you're a good defensive infielder, and then they say, hey, what about maybe catching?
I think that's harder.
Yeah, where he is obviously been a catcher first, came up as a catcher, and is now being used all around the diamond. And the 2-2, and here's a ground ball, and Alex Claudio fields it, throws over to first, no play at second, and so Swihart will be retired, and there's one out here in the 8th. And for some more on the World Cup, let's throw it down to John Radigan.
Yeah, you know, that semifinal game tomorrow is going to be played in a stadium in that Olympic Village that they have there. And Banny actually played baseball there before the end of the Cold War. It was during the perestroika era, and a bunch of minor league players went over there. He says the Russians put together a team full of guys who were hockey players and javelin throwers and wrestlers. None of them knew how to play, but they were all great athletes. He remembers one time he was playing first base, and some behemoth of a man hits a ball right to second base. And the second baseman throws it to Banny. Banny steps on the bag, and the guy's out. He said the guy got so mad, he stopped between, home plate and first base, and Banny thought he was going to tear his head off. And so he said after that, they decided to mix the teams and put some of the Russian guys with the American guys because the Russian guys didn't know how to play the game, nor did they know, you don't have to get that mad, it's just an out. But he has very fond memories of playing in that exact same stadium where they'll play that semifinal game tomorrow, guys.
That's pretty cool.
That is amazing and scary at the same time.
Well, when baseball became an Olympic sport, a lot of countries that didn't play baseball tried to figure out how to play so they could compete. But I don't know that there's a harder sport to learn in a country that doesn't play baseball than baseball to compete at that level.
I mean, and the athletes that he was mentioning, I heard javelin in there, javelin thrower trying to play baseball. Those are completely different skill sets, that's for sure. Here is your 2018 FIFA World Cup bracket. And it's been interesting. Obviously, a little disappointing that the United States did not make the World Cup this time around, but it has been a successful event. So France in the finals, semifinals tomorrow at noon Central Time, as Mookie Betts was intentionally walked on a terrible idea. Alex Claudio an opportunity to face the left-handed hitting Andrew Benintendi, who's having a good night. A couple of doubles for him as he takes a first pitch breaking ball from Claudio. But the splits are pretty significant. That is one thing to keep an eye on with Benintendi. He came into tonight hitting .319 against righties and just .218 against left-handed pitching.
Hey, we found a weakness in one of these guys.
Few and far between. I can tell you too, I was thinking about him and watching him, and not to take anything away, he's a really good player. I'm not sure there's a better spot to hit in right now in baseball.
Perfect.
Than in between Mookie Betts and J.D. Martinez. Now,
No,
you still have to hit.
That's one of the reasons I was saying he's got to be so happy he ended up here to be in that spot in the lineup. It's actually a perfect spot for him.
He swings and misses at an 86-mile-an-hour two-seam fastball from Alex Claudio. So he is down in the count 1-2. A leadoff walk to Rafael Devers on 4 pitches. He moved from second to third after a couple of ground ball outs, and then the intentional walk to Mookie Betts, and now Benintendi is down in the count 1-2. Cutoff speed pitch misses way outside, so we're even here at 2-2 for Alex Claudio. Rangers trying to find a way to keep this close. No, who we'll see here in the ninth. I can't tell from here. Is that? I don't think it's Craig Kimbrell. Non-save situation. Kimbrell just pitched a couple of days ago. Throw over to first. Betts is back. Without binoculars, I'm going to guess it's Ryan Brazier.
I think that's who it is. Same kid that pitched last night, I think.
Yep, there it is.
He had a beard, right?
That's him.
Yeah.
Made his season debut after not pitching in the big league since 2014. Ground ball to the right side. Rougned Odor fields it cleanly over to Ronald Guzman. And so a couple of walks, but no runs for the Boston Red Sox. Well, we're going to go to the ninth. It's do or die time for the Rangers. All of that down as we are now here in the ninth inning. The Rangers trailing by 4, and so they will have some work to do. And it is indeed Ryan Brazier who is back out there. I mentioned and pitched in the big league since 2014. It's actually 2013, 5 years ago. He pitched in his 8th game in the big leagues last night. That was his season debut. You see it there through just 14 pitches. And we saw a big arm with a big fastball. And there's 97 to kick things off here in the ninth. Last season, Brazier pitched for the Hiroshima Carp in Japan. And threw well, 26 games and even 3 ERA. Picked up a save. Had 19 strikeouts to 8 walks, which is interesting. That's another part of this. And even though he's got the big fastball, for a lot of these guys when they go over to Asia, especially Japan, it is difficult to register strikeouts. You got a lot more short swings, a lot more guys trying to put the ball in play. And it was only 19 strikeouts.
They're not into launch angle and
no
the long ball over there.
No, you hit too many pop-ups, they'll make you do push-ups. Take laps.
So striking out has a stigma attached to it over there, I guess.
It still does, without a doubt. Joey Gallo ahead in the count 2-1, and he swings and hits a high fly ball to right field. But there's room there for Mookie Betts. He makes the catch, and Gallo is retired for the first out here in the ninth.
Joey just got underneath that a little bit. Didn't get all of it either, but he doesn't need to hit a home run. Just hit that one a little bit too high.
And so with 1 out here in the ninth inning, Delano DeShields will step in against Brazier. 0 for 3 night so far for Delano. A couple of flyouts and a fielder's choice ground out to third. He looks at 98 miles an hour on the corner, called strike one. Well, this is interesting because this is a deep bullpen already with the Boston Red Sox. And now you see Brazier, just the second game of his career. But based on what we have seen, this looks like an impact arm. And certainly anytime you come up, you have to earn the trust. We've seen a lot of good arms that haven't been able to maybe get the results that you want. But you see Alex Cora there, and the idea of earning the trust of your manager, him putting you in big spots, is something that Brazier will have to do. But there's got to be an opportunity here for him to do that. You got Joe Kelly, throws 97 to 100. You have obviously Craig Kimbrell, and saw Barnes come in and strike out the side. It's a deep bullpen, but this could be another potential impact arm. You talk about trying to shorten the game, and they do have a good rotation here.
Yeah, it's a good spot for him to kind of pitch in. It's kind of an interesting spot. He's got a 4-run lead. It's not a save situation, but at the same time, if he gives up a couple of base runners, he's out of there and Kimbrell's in for the save. So a little bit of pressure for him if he wants to finish the inning.
Without a doubt. Well, fans, make sure you get the MLB.TV subscription, because you can get it right now for just $39.99 during the All-Star sale. It includes MLB At-Bat Premium, so you can watch every out-of-market regular season game live or on demand on your favorite supported devices. And there is the Texas Rangers representative in the All-Star game this year. That'll take place in Washington, D.C., home of the Washington Nationals. This will be Choo's first ever All-Star appearance, 35 years old. Certainly has been an exciting couple of days for him. On Sunday, he got the news that he'd be an All-Star. It was also the same day in which he took over the single season lead. The consecutive on-base streak of the Texas Rangers. He is now the single season holder. And also, I think very important for Choo, he is now the third Korean-born All-Star, following Chan Ho Park in 2001 and Byung-Hun Kim in 2002. So it's been 16 years since any native Korean has made the All-Star team. Certainly a proud moment for Choo. There's a 2-1. Fastball misses inside. 96 miles an hour from Brazier. This is not uncommon to see a guy wearing number 70 now. We've seen some pretty high numbers in the big leagues. Would this have stuck out as a pretty big number back in your day?
Probably. Yeah, probably.
I feel like we're gotten used to it now.
Yeah, pretty
There's
much.
so many of them.
Yep.
Well, there's a walk for Choo, his second of the night, second time he has been on base. So the streak has already continued for Choo, but he extends the inning now here in the ninth for Elvis Andrus. It used to be like you were kind of embarrassed when you had a high number a little bit as a young player.
It's what they give you in spring training for a non-roster or young player that doesn't have any chance to make the big league team. Those are the guys usually wearing the numbers back then over 50. But now you're right. It's not unusual to see those numbers for pretty good players.
So Elvis Andrus steps in, looks at a first pitch fastball, 97 miles an hour, right down the middle. I mentioned Brazier, the lower strikeout total for him, or lower strikeout rate in Japan. This year in AAA with the Red Sox, he struck out 40 in 40 1/3 innings, and he walked just 8. Ground ball left side. Devers is going to get a nice hop over to first base, and Elvis Andrus is retired. This game is over, and so the Boston Red Sox offense does it again. It was a big third inning in which they scored 5 runs. That's pretty much all they needed when it was all said and done. Final score here of 8-4 at Fenway Park. Rick Renner, Jeff Bry, Darren Oliver, they'll have player reactions and analysis. For Tom Grieve and John Radigan, I am CJ Nikowski, inviting you to stay with us as our coverage of Rangers baseball continues right here on Fox Sports Southwest.